Well, here we go. What's going on, guys? It's me, Airliners Fan 2016 here, and today we have mass unboxing number 13 for you guys, the Airliners International 2024 edition. I'm super excited to dive down into yet another mass unboxing, and what a way to celebrate the Thanksgiving holiday with a mass unboxing right here from Airliners International 2024. So, this is actually the different unboxing, or like the unboxing in general for this Airliners International haul, as it goes over all the models I purchased from that convention, excluding all the models that you saw on the memorabilia haul for AI 2024. So, I got a handful of models, I'll say, and yeah, there were a lot of models from various like international airlines to domestic airlines. And yeah, similar to last year's, I'm gonna go over each model, and yeah, we're gonna do things a little bit different compared to like last year's, where I did like all the various like airlines that I got, like the models I got from each day. But we're gonna start off small, as we're gonna like proceed to like all the various like airport accessories, because I got those from the collectible show or the convention itself. Then we're gonna go through some regionals, and then probably some main lines, and then to heavies. And we're gonna top up with a couple of models from the heavy section. So super excited for this unboxing for you guys, and overall, I'm just excited to do this mass unboxing for you guys. And yeah, Airliners International 2024, what a convention that was. Really glad to attend that convention in Kansas City, Missouri. So as you can see, if I could try to find my trusty pencil, if I could try to look for it. Hang on, guys. There it is. So, as you can see, here is the booty bag right there. So it says the Airliners International 2024 Convention, Kansas City, June 26th to the 29th, 2024. MCI 2024 right there. So yeah, this is the Gemini Jets booty bag right there. And as I flip to the back side, you got the Gemini Jets logo that's in this black background of the booty bag. So really cool amenities like from the booty bag, and yeah, you can get some like various like memorabilia stuff on postcards and all the various like items there. But we're not gonna waste further time. We're gonna get started with this mass unboxing, and overall I'm just super excited to premiere mass unboxing 13 for you guys. So without being said, we're not gonna waste further time, and we're gonna get started. Section 1 will be the airport accessories. So, here we go, everybody. Let's get mass unboxing number 13 started. Alright, let's get mass unboxing number 13 kicked off, shall we? So, we're gonna get started with some GSC and airport ground accessories that I got from the convention. Now, compared to last year, I think I got like 2 airport accessories, and that's from like the Gemini Jets old Gemini Jets GSC equipment from Airliners 2023. Yeah, it is like the old, it features all like the yellow GSC, but they got a handful of stuff. But I was able to snag a couple of more GSCs, and there was also another GSC retailer that, a retailer that has a lot of GSCs. So, here we go. So we're gonna get started with our first one. So we're gonna get started with a couple of GSC equipment that I got from, Jet Set Models. So if you don't know what Jet Set Models are, they are basically like they're just like a small retailer that sells a lot of GSCs, and usually these are like 3D printed. So I got a couple of GSC stuff right there, alongside with cones and rampers. So here they are right there. I ended up getting 4, but I also got an additional 2. So how that worked was like, I got like GSC equipment from them, and yeah, I wanted like more rampers and workers. And yeah, really glad to have them, and overall, they should be a pivotal asset for my airport updates if ever I do them. And yeah, it can make more of my airport updates more realistic. And yes, I actually did a separate video on this, so it goes into further detail about these, but I did end up getting 4. But if you want to see like a full in-depth detail on them, then I can try like put them aside. So right here, so kind of like over here. So here we go. So it might be a bit zoom far away, like kind of like that, but I'm just gonna put these 4 aside, and then we're gonna like place all like the cones here and all the rampers. So we're gonna get started with the review on the rampers. So I'm gonna do this in one video. So yeah, so I'm just gonna put these, oh man, I should not put them like where they're just like close to each other, or I just like have them separate rather than like mixed together. So here we go. So here are all the ramp workers and the cones right there. Really cool that they added cones. So cones, if you guys don't know, if you're like, if you like seeing some cones on the aircraft, that's usually like the safety areas for like rampers to work at, and where all the GSC vehicles will be. So here it cones right there. I think for a 1400 cone, I think this is really nice, and yeah, it's also detailed too. I mean, like, it is 3D printed once again, but the cone detail is very nice alongside the rampers. And yeah, similar to like the cones, I mean, like, once again, it's not really the best detail, but it's almost like a more accurate, like an accurate representation of a ramp worker right there, or ramp agent. So yeah, really cool on how Jet Set Models was able to make this, and yeah, really glad to have these. And yeah, you'll see these in future airport updates that I do, so really excited to finally have them in my collection, and my, well, technically my GSC collection, but I'm really glad to have them. And yeah, shout out to Jet Set Models because they make some amazing accessories. So we're gonna put that aside, and then we're gonna move on to a couple of more GSCs. So it's not just like rampers and cones right there, but we also got an additional like GSC equipment too. So with that being said, let's move on to some GSC from Jet Set Models. And now let's take a look at the GSC equipment that Jet Set Models has to provide. So I'm guessing like 3 GSCs, and these can be pivotal for my mall airport because like I really lack a lot of GSCs. So when Jet Set Models were there, I really wanted like a lot of GSC, if you know what I mean. But I was able to grab a couple of them, so we're gonna get started. Now, this one's, you have seen a video of this already, but as I pull it into camera, here are the GSC right there. So these are actually United Airlines GSC equipment, and yes, I actually did a full in-depth review on this also, but as you can see, there's like a lot of like various like GSC equipment, and yeah, you can see a lot of belt loaders, K-loaders, tractors, and all the various baggage carts right there. So let me just like put them like together so you can get a full in-depth details. Once again, I already did a full in-depth details, but I'm just gonna put them aside so you can see the full in-depth details. There's also a generic GSC that I also got from Jet Set as well, but that one in particular, it didn't arrive because like they were out of stock. Like I didn't got it from the collectible show because they were out of stock of it, so I decided to wait for a bit, and then a couple of days later at the Airliners, they finally arrived. So I'll show you that once I complete this full in-depth, like all these various like GSCs from all the various all the various GSCs, that's what I meant to say. But once again, these all came from United Airlines, so these are the United Airlines GSC equipment right there. So let me just take this out. So here they all are. So you can see all the various like pushback tugs. So there's one, hang on, let me just like put it a little closer. So as you can see right here, so here you got all your various like pushback tugs. So one right there, catering trucks, air stairs, and then there's your tractors, there's your GPUs, and then all your various baggage trains right there, or baggage carts. So yeah, these are all the various GSCs that I got. So these are like the United Airlines GSCs, and yeah, if I feature United Airlines on my mall airports, then you'll see these GSCs right here. So really glad to have these United Airlines GSCs, and overall, they're once again pivotal assets for my airport updates and my mall airports in general. So really glad to have them. So with that being said, let's move on to our next GSC equipment, and we're gonna do the generic one. So with that being said, let's move on to the generic GSC. And coming into the frame as I speak, we have Jet Set Models' generic GSC equipment. So as you can see, this is actually different. This is like a different packaging design, because compared to this, it's just like a small Ziploc bag, but they ended up like giving me this, and like pretty much they're all branding. So you can see Jet Set Models' logo right there, 1/4 the scale, airport accessory collection, jetsetmodels.com, which is their website, jetsetmodels400.com, and then you can see their Instagram page right there. So I would highly recommend following them because they produce some amazing products right there. So jetsetmodels400 on Instagram. And here's the backside. You can see here's a description, so you can pause and read this if you want to read more about like Jet Set Models. And then you can see Jake, who is the owner of the brand. So I think they're based out of like Southern California, like kind of like around the Anaheim area, like LA area. Cause like I think I told him like, oh, where are you guys from? Oh, we're from like the SoCal area. And yeah, really cool to have them in SoCal, as I do live in NorCal. So yeah, I might order some Jet Set Models products while I'm here in Northern California. And yeah, they might get shipped in just a couple of days. So like the process of shipping might come in a couple of days. So that's like the huge benefits of me living in NorCal. and there's like a mall retailer brand or like some other brand that lives in Southern California. So as I open this up, we're gonna take a look at all the various GSCs. Okay, how do I, okay, there's the opening right there. So let me do this. Alright, and we're gonna take them all out. And as you can see, so here they all are. Looking very nice right there. And yeah, I'm gonna have to like set this, like put them all together, like arrange them off camera. So yeah, it's a big pile right there, but as compared to like the United ones, since I already did a review on these, I just like let the video be. But I'm gonna have to like stop this recording and then assemble it, like put them all together off camera. So with that being said, I'll be right back, guys, and we're gonna proceed into review of these GSCs. Okay, and after a couple of minutes, here they all are. So as you can see, these are the generic GSC equipment from Jet Set Models, and they almost look similar to like the United Airlines, well, like the United Airlines ones, but with slight alterations. So let me go over each GSC one by one. So as you can see, we're gonna get started with our tugs right here. I would usually call them tugs because that's what my work refers to them, but they can also be called as tractors. So as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 tugs right there, and then you got all your various like baggage trolleys right there. So you can see one that's closed in, and you can also see one that has like open air baggage trolleys, similar to like what Southwest has. So really cool, they also include these. And then for the third and fourth one, I just altered with each of them. So there's one with open air and one with closed air. And then you can see all the various like GSC, like the trolleys that are just parked there. Next up, we got some GPUs right there. So really cool that they designed these GPUs. And yeah, overall, they actually look very accurate. So as you can see all like the various like details in there. Once again, this is like 3D printed. So nothing, I mean like, it's good for what it is. But other than that, they did an excellent job on that. You also got some 2 pushback tugs right there. So one of them actually features this kind of tow bar, which I would see some like tow bars. I'm guessing they would use this if they will like push back some wide bodies, and then they would like use this for like whatchamacallit, narrow bodies. So yeah, narrow body aircrafts right there, but they can also be used for wide bodies too. But yeah, I think this is more common compared to this one because like you would see this more often. So those are there. Next up, we got some belt loaders right there. There are 4 belt loaders, so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. And yeah, they're also well accurately designed. And yeah, I really like on how the various like details there are. Like, I mean, there isn't really much details, but I do love on how like the shape of like the GSC. So really cool right there. You also got some air stairs, which are kind of like reasonable on wired air, but usually they would connect these to the aircraft. I would normally use like, if I would like place an airplane on like a remote stand, then I would use this. So yeah, those are the air stairs right there. And then lastly, we have our catering trucks right there. So there are 2 catering trucks, and yeah, it's just like plain white catering trucks. So yeah, overall, really nice to see some equipment coming into my airports in the future. So overall, I'm gonna use a lot of that. And yeah, there's gonna be a lot of like GSCs in the next airport updates I do for Roseville. So overall, really glad to have them in my collection, and shout out to Jet Set Models. They have a nice variety of GSCs and GA airplanes too. They have like GSC equipment from Delta, Southwest, Hawaiian, American, and United, just to name a few. But they also got some like other like GSCs, like they also have something for Amazon, buses, law enforcement, and they also have some buildings too. So overall, excuse me, great work Jet Set Models on these amazing products right there, and I'm looking forward to purchasing more of your products in the near future. So that's it for Jet Set Models, but we're not done yet because I also got some awesome GSC equipment that I'm super excited to have. So with that being said, let's move on to some more GSC equipment. Alright, continuing on with the GSC sections, I'm excited for some more GSCs to arrive in my collection, for GSCs of course, but these GSC equipment are just super exciting because it's a brand new, well technically brand new company that I purchased some models from, or technically not really models, but just different brand of like model manufacturer, or just like simply like a manufacturer in general. But I'm super excited about this. I've been wanting to have these GSCs from this brand for a long time, but ladies and gentlemen, I finally acquired some Fantasy Wings GSCs. Super excited to finally have them. And yeah, these should be like pivotal assets, and they're actually known for like all the various like details. I mean, look at this like ULD cargo set right here. That is just like amazing detail. But we're gonna get started with the airport passenger bus collection right there. So this is from Fantasy Wings right there. So this is from Swissport. So yeah, I decided to go for buses because I thought like, oh, I just want more. There's a pamphlet so you can see all the buses right there, which honestly I think they're very like well detailed, and you can see like the buses and details, and then you can see like an airport background right there. Here's the bottom side of the box, right side, top, and left. And then here's the back side with all your various like labels right there. You can see they got an Instagram page right there, so you can follow them. And then you also got a website. I'm not sure if this is active at all. And then you also got their Facebook right there. So super excited to have my first Fantasy Wings GSC. And overall, they should be like pivotal assets for my future airports that I do in the future. And yeah. And overall, here is the bus right there. So here's one bus that's already been taken. Or maybe I could try, yeah, I could just like do that. But I'm actually gonna do this on camera, like continue recording while I review the buses. So let me just set these aside. And then we're gonna zoom in into the camera to take a look at these buses. And man, that's like some attention grabbers right there. So like attention to detail. Well, not really attention grabbers, but there's a lot of attention to detail on these like Fantasy Wings GSCs in 1/400 scale. And overall, they did a pivotal, like a phenomenal job on these. Actually, I do want to zoom in a little closer so you can take a look at the details. So let me just do this. And there we go. So now you can see them more clearer this time. So we're gonna, like, I'm just gonna, like, scoot one bus right there. So as you can see, you got your various, like, doors right there. You got the wheels right there. And how about, like, the details of, like, the side mirrors? I know it's 1/400 scale, but holy moly, that's, like, good attention to details. You also got the panels right there. You got the windows right there. Not a bus expert, but I think this Fantasy Wings is just the next level of GSC equipment, as you can see. But as you can see, the windows are transparent. That looks absolutely amazing. You can see the top details right there. You got some exhaust fans right there. There's nothing much in the bottom, but I'm kind of more into like the sides right there. There's the rear section of the bus right there. You got some headlights right there, or rear lights, and then all your various like hazard lights right there. But other than that, this is just really, really, really cool to see some Fantasy Wings GSCs. This amount of detail, it just blows away Gemini Jet's GSC in my opinion. But overall, that's just amazing right there. Wow, really cool to see some Fantasy Wings products for the first time. And overall, they did a phenomenal job on this. Now, yes, I think I did purchase them on Spruce Butters Malls in one dinner table inside the Kansas Ballroom, but this is just really cool, right? This is just really cool right there. So great work, great work, Fantasy Wings on this, and overall they produced some amazing products. But I got one more product to take a look at. And that is the cargo set. So with that being said, let's move on to the cargo set. Moving on to some more GSC for Fantasy Wings, I was also able to snag a cargo set from them, and this is the GSC, and I think this was the only one they have, and for $30, that's not even that bad. That's like a really good deal right there. So as you can see, 1/400 Fantasy Wing cargo set, pre-painted and pre-built, and I think this was issued on December 30th of 2021, so I'm guessing that's like when they were made. But other than that, I'm really excited to have these. Now I got more ULD loaders and all the various like GSC stuff right there for the cargo set, so I'm overall excited. So here's the front section of the box right there, or just kind of like a bag. I'm not really quite sure if this is classified as a box, but you can see 1/400 scale, the Fantasy Wings logo right there. You can see all the various like GSC stuff. At the back, you can see on how it's being, like how the ULDs, like, or the K loaders are being propped up into the plane, and you can see how it's being demonstrated right there. You can see the iron number, which is FWDP-CG4002. There's an Instagram page right there, and then there's a Facebook right there, and then you can see join us, and you can like scan that barcode right there. Box kind of looks a bit beat up, but it came like that. But other than that, I'm just super excited to finally have these Fantasy Wings ULD loaders, or K loaders in this case, in my GSC collection. So let me just like take this off. I don't really want to hurt myself with those staplers right there, so trying my best to be careful. Alright, and with that out of the way, here they are. So let me, they're kind of like falling off, but that doesn't, I mean, like, hope they didn't. Oh, there we go. So let me just like do this, and yeah, that's it. But other than that, here they all are right there. And yeah, just like the previous one with those generic GSC from Jet Set, I'm gonna have to like assemble this off camera. So with that being said, I'm gonna be right back, guys, and then we're gonna get this set up. And here they are, looking absolutely beautiful. And honestly, I think this has got to be the best GSC equipment that I ever seen, like in terms of like details. Like, look at this. Honestly, don't even have words. This is absolute effort from Fantasy Wings, and I'm really glad to have my first for some many fantasy wings in my GSC equipment. So as you can see, we'll get into a review. So you got the belt loader right there, which there's like a really good detail. Like as you can see, as I pull it up a little closer, but you can see there's like a handle over there. There's like the handlebars over there, like the handle railings right there. That is some kind of like good detailing from fantasy wings. And what I also do like, yeah, they do move, but I think I may have moved it a little too much that it caused it to break. But the good news is, it's an easy fix, so there she is. Wow, this, honestly, it looks really good. Honestly, better than Gemini jets, in my opinion. But on that is the belt loader right there. Next up, we have the tugs right there, so let me just position it on the camera right there. So here's a tug that contains the ULD loaders right there. So here's a ULD loader right here, one ULD over here, and one ULD that's currently on this like dolly right here. So, and the ULDs are also well attention to detail too. And what I do like about the ULDs, it actually comes in separate. So like you can actually separate it from the trailers right there, like the dolly. So that's really cool. And then you can place them back in like so, like this. And yeah, really cool to. I think a magnet too. Like some of them are like magnet, which I think that's also really cool as well. So that is the ULDs right there. And speaking of ULDs, there's another ULD over there. But we're also gonna get into the ULD loaders or the K loaders. But these are also well detailed too. So as you can see, you can have a configuration where it's just like about to like where like the steps are about to like, not really steps, but like the loader is about to be raised up, and then you got this configuration on where like the platform raises up right there. So yeah, it's a platform. But under that, that's really cool. And look at all the various like details. You got all the various like hazard signals, and then you got all the various like details. When I pull it up in the front, you can also see some good details right there, and then you can see where the driver sits. But other than that, this is actually really cool. So once again, really glad to have my first of many fantasy wings GSC in my collection. And overall, there's some, that's like, it's, the amount of detail is just really impressive, honestly. And yeah, I'm really glad to finally have these for my GSU equipment, and they should look really good for my very small airports that I do. But other than that, that is it for the GSU equipment. So let me just like bring all my GSC stuff right here. So got the buses right there from Fantasy Wings, and then I also got my Jet Set models stuff too. So just gonna get a handful of them, but other than that, this just demonstrates effort. I've been getting a lot of GSC equipment as of late. I hope this, like you can see a lot of these at many of my airport updates that I do, but hopefully I can feature more on upcoming airport updates that I do in the future. But other than that, really glad to have them from my airports right here, and overall they should be pivotal assets for these. And I also do have this to take care of. It's my GSC box. But yeah, really excited to finally have these, and yeah, that is it for the GSC. So we're gonna get I'm gonna put these inside the box, and overall we're just gonna get started with the models. Everybody's ready for the models right here, but super excited to get into the model section. But we're finished with the GSC. Now let's move on to some models. So here we go, everybody. We're gonna get started with our first model in the next clip. Alright, now let's get into the models. So I got plenty of models from Airliners International 2024, and yeah, many of these are gonna be assets for my collection, and probably for some future airport updates, and for some, I just get them just for the sake of it. But we got our first model right here. We're gonna be starting off with some regional jets. So I got 4 regional jets in this convention itself. So we're gonna start off a bit small. So we're gonna start from the smallest first. So super excited to have this model for my collection. This model came out in the May 2022 releases, so pretty much 2 years ago, and yet this model was still it's still available on some retailers that I came across with. But I was able to snag I was able to snag a hold on this model in particular. So, and I actually did see this particular plane in some of my spotting sessions I did. So without being said, we're gonna get started with our first model, and that's gonna be the Gemini Jets 1/400 scale JSX Embraer ERJ 145. Super excited to have another ERJ 145 in my collection. This is my second ERJ 145 after I got the Contour Embraer ERJ 145 a couple of mass unboxings back. But super excited to have this like this JSX ERJ 135, not 135, 145. They also have some 135s in their fleet, but this is my first JSX model, and I'm super excited to have JSX in my collection. I did see a JSX Embraer ERJ 145 at Reno Tahoe International Airport during my spotting session there back in January 2024. And I'm really glad to have this model just to represent that. So here we go. You got the Gemini Jets logo right there. Maybe for collectors, buy collectors. You got the CGI image of the aircraft. Embraer ERJ 145 tiles right there. We got the JSX tiles, more front scale die-cast small aircraft. It's a smaller box compared to like various like main like standard Gemini Jets boxes. This is a lot smaller, and it really fits like many of these regional jets. Here's the bottom, right side, top side, and left side. And then moving on to the back, you got the back side right there. You got the CGI image of the aircraft and with some skies in the background, as well as the guest features. All like the bullet points right there. The social media pages right there. There's no like trademarks of JSX anywhere. You got the 2022 Gemini Jets copyright label right there, since this aircraft was released in 2022. Not 2002, 2022. And the item number of this model is GJJSX 2071. And as I open up the pamphlet, we have the model side, and take a look at that. I think I just like put the box like that. Yeah, it's kind of like a verse. But yeah, look at that pretty model right there. And here's the description of the Embraer ERJ 145 and this particular aircraft, so you can pause and read. And here we go. So let's unbox this tiny little regional jet. So yeah, really nice to have, once again, another ERJ 145 in my collection. And yeah, I always wanted to have like a JSX model in my collection for like a while. Not sure if there's like any other retailers that does sell an Embraer ERJ 135 from JSX, or like who has a ERJ 135 custom mold about that. But look at this. Here she is, the JSX Embraer ERJ 145, which I think Gemini Jets did a great job on this aircraft right there. So once again, really nice model right here. Their ERJ 145 mold looks very nice in 1/4 scale. And overall, I'm really glad to have this particular aircraft in my collection. Maybe I can use it for like charter flights at some point. But other than that, really nice to have it. And here's the Gemini Jets 1/4 scale JSX Embraer ERJ 145. What a nice looking model in 1/4 scale right here. And overall, from 2022, I think Gemini Jets did a wonderful job on this ERJ 145 model right there. So, really nice to have it, and let's get started with the review. So you got the cockpit windows right there, which I think Gemini Jets did a good job on the cockpit window printing on the ERJ 145. And then you got the nose shape of the plane right there, which they also did a good job. And honestly, it almost looks really as good. You got the nose landing gear right there, and the nose landing gear door right there as well. You got, I'm guessing, does that say operated by JSX? Let me try like zoom in a little closer. I mean, it says JSX, and then there's something like at the top of the JSX logo right there. I'm not sure what it is, but yeah. But other than that, I mean, like, I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments below, or let me know in the chat below, since this is a premiere. You also got some various like details, like some P2 details and stackboard details right there. You got the L1 boarding door right there. You got the X logo and with some like windows right there. And yeah, looking very nice right there. And then you got your emergency exit doors right there. And then you got the cantilever, like the, what is that? Cantilever wing. So there's a cantilever wing right there. I think Gemini Jets also did a good job on the wings right there. You also got some various like details from like, I mean, yeah, there's some good details, but not as like various details. What is that thing? I'm gonna have to take that out. But yeah, you got your red, I'm thinking, well, not sure what that red thing is, but you got your emergency exit indicators right there, your emergency exits right there, and then all your various like stuff from like the slats, flaps, and spoilers. And yeah, nothing to go over much. Moving on to the back side of the plane, you got your cargo door. So there's a cargo door which is placed on the port side of the aircraft, and then you got your engines right there. I'm gonna have to look at the box at what the engines these are. So if you give me guys a sec, the engines are AN/AE30. Hang on, I'm gonna have to read it a little closer. So the engines of this aircraft are two AN/AE37A1 engines. So yeah, those are the engines that operate the ERJ 145. They're small, but I think that they're very good for like a ERJ 145 right there. You also got the JSX logo right there, which I think that means Jet Suite Express. I think that's what JSX means. And then you got the aircraft registration, if you can see it. There we go. So the aircraft registration is November 241 Juliet X-Ray. Moving on to the empennage of the plane, you got a very interesting APU. And yeah, I didn't know like the APU is like on the ERJ 145 is curved up like that. Like this part right here, it curves up to be like, it adds up from here all the way to like slanted like that. Wasn't expecting to like have an APU design, like the APU's design for ERJ145 to look like that. But you got the JSX logo right there, and the horizontal stabilizers, which represents a detail, as you can see right there. Moving on to the front of the plane right there, you also got some various like good front details right there, which I think Gemini Jets also did a good job. I mean, there's some fan blades right there, but I mean, for a 1400 model, that's exceptional. And then moving on to the starboard section of the plane, you got your tiny R door right there, and then you got all your various like panels right there, and yeah, all like the extra panels right there for this particular aircraft. Once again, since this aircraft is a regional jet, there are times it'll be featured, the cargo door will be featured on the port side, like the port side, which in this case, this is a good example. So this particular plane has the cargo bins on the port side. Moving on to a top view of the plane, so here's the top view of the aircraft right there. And as you can see, what I like about this ERJ145, or many like JSX's ERJ145s, is there's like a red stripe that runs exactly within the middle of the aircraft's fuselage. So you can see there's a red stripe right there. And yeah, you can see all your various like panel details, like extra details at the top right there. And then moving on to the bottom, you can also see that red stripe right there, similar to like the top. So I kind of like on how JSX's ERJ145s have a livery. I like this kind of like livery design on JSX's ERJ145s. Anyways, you also got your various like details at the bottom right there, which I think Gemini Jets also did a great job on. You got your tiny Gemini Jets logo right there alongside the stand hole. And yeah, you can see all the red lines also are featured on the wings right there, well, the bottom of the wings. Moving on to the front section, so here's another look at the front section right there. And then also this is a really cool livery, I'll say. Very unique for their ERJ145 aircraft right there. And then the back view is right here. So overall, great work Gemini Jets on this ERJ145. And yeah, once again, really glad to have JSX in my collection after seeing this particular plane. Well, I'm not sure if I saw the exact registration at Reno Tahoe, but other than that, still a good model to have for my collection. And yeah, another ERJ145 has arrived for my collection after getting that contour a couple of months back. But other than that, really glad to have this model, and hopefully I can use that in future airport updates I do. So that is it for the ERJ145 from JSX. Let's move on to our next model. The next regional planes we'll be taking a look at are a couple of specials, and there's two in this portion right here. So I was able to snag a couple of these models, well, these two models in particular, and yeah, these should be nice assets. I know I haven't featured this airline too much on many of my airport updates, but I'm just super excited to have this particular plane for my 1400 model airports I do in the future. So without being said, let's get started with our first special aircraft with the Gemini Jets 1400 scale Alaska Airlines Embraer E175 in the Washington State University Go Cougs livery. Super excited to have this model in my collection. Another Alaska Airlines special, and yeah, another Embraer E175 from Alaska Airlines after I have two of the standard livery E175s by SkyWest and the Horizon Air Retro. So decided to go for this. The first one up is the Go Cougs. So you got the Gemini Jets logo right there, made for collectors by collectors. You got the CJ image of the plane, Embraer E175 tiles right there, Alaska Airlines logo, 1400 scale die-cast small aircraft. Nothing to go over at this point, it's just the same generic Gemini Jets box, but this is much larger compared to the ERJ145. You got the backside with the various like details, as well as get stuff right there, Gemini Jets social medias, Alaska Airlines trademark product right there, and a 2024 Gemini Jets copyright label, since this aircraft was released somewhere in 2024. Kind of like, don't know the exact months, but it's kind of like in the ballpark in between like, just like, I think quarter 2 of 2024 is when this model got released, but I think like one of the releases was in quarter 1 of 2024, but not really quite sure, but yeah. But other than that, the honor number of this model is GJASA 2250. So let's take a look at the aircraft in the pamphlet, and there she is right there. The color looks very nice too. I think Gemini Jets did a good job on that. Anyways, here is the description of the ERJ175, and yeah, you can pause and read. And here we go. Let's get started with the unboxing. And yeah, first special livery of the day. I didn't got much special liveries from this unboxing or the haul, or like the convention itself. I just only got these two because yes. And yeah, I also did see this particular plane too, so really nice to have them for my collection. And yeah, and as I check the wings, they're good. Horizontal stabilizers are also good, and the tail as well. And there she is, the Alaska Airlines E-175 Cougars livery, promoting Washington State University since they're like a partner of that university. So really cool. And yeah, another Alaska Airlines special in my collection. And yeah, they did a phenomenal job on this model. So looking very nice. And yeah, what a nice aircraft. What a nice special livery and aircraft right there. Go Cougs. And here's the Gemini Jets 1/400 scale Alaska Airlines Embraer E-175 in the Washington State University Go Cougs livery. What a nice model this is from my 1/400 Alaska Airlines collection, and overall they did a phenomenal job on this. They did like a good job on this model right here. The colors looks really spot on this model right here, so well done Gemini Jets right there. What a nice model for my Alaska Airlines collection once again. So you got the cockpit windows right there, and then you got your L1 boarding door, nose landing gear, and nose landing gear door containing part of the aircraft registration right there. You got all the various like SAC port details and pitot tube details right there, and the nose shape, it's exceptional for Embraer E-175. You also got your windows right there as well. You also got your Alaska Airlines logo right there, and I think that's the One World tiles too. This aircraft is operating for Horizon Air since it has the Horizon tiles right there. There's your GE CF34 engines right there. And yeah, they did a good job on like I'm not sure if it's really rocket ship, but I don't really care too much. But other than that, it still looks good anyways. You got the Go Cougs tiles right there. And then there's the winglets, which they also have the Washington State University logo that's printed on there. So it's a 1/400 model. So being like Gemini Jets being able to like print these like logos right there is phenomenal. And that's really effort based from Gemini Jets. So great work. Moving on to some wing details right there. So here's some wing details. Nothing really much to go over the wing details, kind of like the same thing, but I think they did a good job on like representing the slats because they can be seen. And then you got some slat details, flaps details, and then you got your flat track canoes right there and all your printed details right there. Moving on to the back area of the plane. So here's the back. You got your Washington State University logo right there, and this is not an antenna, which I think that's just part of the aircraft, but I'm not sure what this is really used for. You also got your L2 door right there. You got some various like stripes right there. So you see a white stripe, maroon stripe, and then it leads into like a gray background at the empennage area of the plane. You got your US flag right there, and then you got the aircraft registration, November 661, Quebec X-Ray. I got to see this aircraft a couple of times, mainly in Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, and sometimes in Sacramento International. So I have one good photo from Seattle-Tacoma back in December 2023. So here's that photo coming on your screen right now. And overall, it was a takeoff shot, and yeah, really glad to take a picture of that particular plane. And that was my first time seeing this special livery. But other than that, still a good livery regardless. Moving on to the back area, so here's the APU of the plane. Horizontal stabilizers with some nice details right there. You can see like the trim markers right there on this particular plane. And then you got the tail right there with the Washington State University logo right there, which really represents a cougar right there since that is their mascot right there. So they also did a good job on the printing too. And then moving on to the front section of the plane. Now with Gemini Jets' recent Embraer E-175 molds, the wing flex is just really spot on, as if like there isn't really wing flex at all. I mean like kinda, but at this point like there isn't really not much on wing flex on these E-175 molds compared to like before. One example I can think of with like the wing flex thing is the United E-175 and the Alaska E-175 honoring those who serve. But other than that, the recent E-175 releases, they've just been spot on. Anyways, moving on to the starboard section of the plane, you got your R doors right there. You got your forward cargo bin, which is somewhere over there. And I think the aft cargo bin, if I were to take a guess, I guess the aft cargo bin should be right there. It's kind of like hard to see because of the Washington University logo, but it's there. Moving on to a top view of the plane, so let me just position it. So here's the top view, So here's the top view of the plane. Not much on aerial details, which it's been like that for the E-175 molds for the past. But yeah, there it is. So here's the top details right there. Moving on to the bottom, you got some various like bottom details. And I do like the fact that the air intakes right there are molded into the model. So that's really cool that Gemini Jets was able to do that. You also got your stand hole right there and the tiny Gemini Jets logo right there. Moving on to the front. So here's the front view of the plane, looking very nice. Alongside with that, you also got your back view right there. So overall, great work Gemini Jets on this Embraer E-175. And yeah, the Cougars livery, I mean like for people who are in Washington State University, then yeah, this mall looks, yeah, this aircraft's for you, basically. Yeah, and yeah, Alaska Airlines, they've been partnering some universities, but their current partnerships are the Washington State University and Washington University itself, which we're going to be going over that mall next. But on that, great work, Gemini Jets, on this Cougars E175 right there, and I'm really glad to have this for my Alaska Airlines collection. Anyways, let's move on to the dogs livery, and I'm super excited for this. So without being said, I'm just super excited for the dogs livery, since that's a much more cooler livery than, I mean, don't get me wrong, this livery is cool, but I'm just super excited. I think I'm excited for, like, I'm excited more for the dogs, so I'm just excited for the dogs livery even more. But without being said, let's move on to the dogs livery. And coming on your screen right now is the Gemini Jets 1/400 scale Alaska Airlines Embraer E175 in the Washington University Go Dogs livery. I think I'm more excited about this livery in particular because I have some connection with this livery. So don't get me wrong, I think the Cougars livery looks very nice, but I'm just even more excited about this dogs livery. Now, I do have a history about this livery, which I'm going to go over once I review the model, but I'm just really excited for this particular aircraft, and I'm just super excited to unbox it. So you got the Gemini Jets logo right there, made for collectors by collectors. No need to go over the box, it's just your generic Gemini Jets box. It's almost similar to like the Cougs box, and then all that. I mean, the sides are just the same. Backside is pretty much the same too, as well as it gets bullet points right there, social medias, Alaska Airlines trademark, and the 2024 Gemini Jets copyright label right there. I'm guessing this was released first before the Cougars livery was released in 1/400 scale. But I think I might be right on that, but it could have been released first. But I'm guessing it's somewhere in like February 2024, like February/March of 2024. That's what I'm kind of like guessing. But the item number this model is GJASA 2251. Let's have a look at the aircraft inside the pamphlet and take a look at that. Man, that just really looks good right there. Wow, phenomenal job from Gemini right there. And yeah, you can see all the various descriptions of the E175, the aircraft's history, and the description about this particular plane. Let's unbox it, shall we? Man, I'm super excited. So yeah, really nice to have yet another Alaska special in my collection. And yeah, once again, it's a perfect pair for my other one, the Cougars livery. And there she is right there. Man, that just looks fantastic. Wow, holy crap, that looks cool. Anyways, let me check the tails, horizontal stabilizers, just to make sure. And man, that is wow, that looks okay. After that quick pause, take a look at that model right there. Man, that's just a phenomenal work from Gemini Jets. Really glad to have this in my collection, and it's a perfect pair for my Cougars livery. Go Dogs. What an awesome livery. Man, Gemini Jets did a wonderful job on this model right here. And here's the Gemini Jets 1/400 scale Alaska Airlines Embraer E175 in the Washington University Go Dogs livery. Same goes for the Go Cougs livery on the other E175. This is another job well done from Gemini Jets, and this is really cool, honestly. It's even cooler than the Cougars, but I think the Cougars also looks very nice, but I think Gemini Jets still did a phenomenal job on the Go Dogs one. So, you got the cockpit windows right there, you got some various pitot tube stack port details right there, no shape of the aircraft, landing gear, nose landing gear door, well, nose landing gear in particular, L1 boarding door right there, one wheel titles, Alaska Airlines logo right there, and the Horizon Air titles as well. You got your CF34 engines right there. I think the purple on this model looks absolutely, like, it looks nice, honestly. I mean, it might look darker in darker conditions. It almost looks okay when I look at it, when I have these lights with me. But other than that, I think it still looks nice. I think the livery, like the livery painting, or like the design and how Gemini Jets did the colors on this livery it looks very nice, I can say. But other than that, really cool. You got the Go Dogs tiles right there, of course. I think the Huskies is their mascot for Washington University. You can also see their logo on the winglets as well, which once again, similar to like the Cougs, I think Gemini Jets did a wonderful job in putting the logos of the Washington University logos on these winglets right there, despite them all being 1/400 scale. Here's some wing details, nothing really too much to go over. It's got like the same thing for like all the various like winglets on these, like the wing details on these E175s, but under that, there they are right there. Moving on to the back area of the aircraft right there. Let me just zoom in a little bit closer. Okay, I think this should be good. So here's the back. You got, well, technically once again, this is not an antenna right there. And then you got your L2 door, and then I think that says proud sponsor of UW athletic. So there it is right there. And then you got your L2 door right there. And then you got the stripes, like similar to like the Cougars one. You got a white stripe right there and a purple, and then it transitions into like a goldish color right there. You got the US flag right there, and then you got the aircraft registration, which is the sister ship of 661. This is November 662 Quebec X-ray. I think the first time I saw the the Dogs University livery is back in Seattle. That was like the day when I arrived in Seattle back in 2023 in December. So I got that nice picture right there. Skies were getting a little dark. Well, the sky is getting a little dark, but I still managed to get the shot of the aircraft. And yeah, really nice livery from Alaska Airlines. And yeah, very nice model right there. And I also have the Q400 as well. So I actually had the Q400 in this livery. But yeah, the E175 is just a different livery. But I think the E175, the Washington University in the E175 looks better than the Q400. Don't get me wrong, I think the Q400 has a much nicer design. I think the Dogs livery on the Q400 looks nice, but this is just a different livery in general. It's a full body livery and similar to the Cougars. It's a full body livery, and I think Gemini Jets did a wonderful job on it, and Alaska Airlines when they designed this livery. Here's the empennage area of the aircraft. You got your AP right there and the horizontal stabilizers similar to the previous one. You got some trim markers right there. And here's the tail with the Washington University logo right there, which I think Gemini just did a wonderful job putting the logo on that tail. Front section also looks very nice as well, similar to like the Q400, not Q4, the E175 on the Cougars livery. It looks very nice. No wing flex. I will say though, nose landing gear kind of looks a bit iffy, but I can't really complain too much right there. Moving on to the starboard section of the aircraft, similar to like the previous one. You got your R doors right there, forward cargo bin is right there, and then you got your aft cargo bin somewhere right there. Moving on to the top view of the aircraft, so here's the top view of the plane right there, looking very nice. You got your various details right there. Bottom section is also similar too. You got your stand hole right there and your tiny Gemini Jets logo alongside with some very nice details and the molded in air intakes, which I think this is a huge plus for Gemini Jets in their regional aircrafts. Not sure what happened to this main landing gear, but I can't really complain. Let me position it into the front. Excuse my hand. And here's the front view of the plane. Also looking very nice. I think the wing flex on this one, it almost looks similar to ground flex configurations. I think this one looks a lot more better compared to the Cougars. And then moving on to the back. Here it is. Here's the back right there. So overall, another fantastic model from Gemini Jets in the regional department. And overall, they killed it on many of these specials right here. I think they did a wonderful job alongside the regionals too. And yeah, really nice to have my second E175 special from Alaska Airlines. Well, technically in this unboxing, but my third Alaska Airlines special on this Embraer E175. So I have the Horizon Air, the Cougs, and the Dogs livery as well. So what a nice model from Gemini Jets. Let's move on. The last regional aircraft we'll be taking a look at is a model that I already have in my collection. Now, I decided to get this for the sake of it. Now, I was originally going to plan this out, but I'll go over once this model is already revealed. But I decided to get another one of these because, yes, that I thought like having these like models isn't enough, so I decided to get an additional one out of these. And, well, I had to do it, but I got another Delta E175 from Gemini Jets, because yes. But the reason why I decided to get this is, I have two Delta E175s in my collection, so why not get a third? But this will actually be the final push for Delta E175s. I originally was gonna have, I was planning on getting 5 Delta E175s because of how popular it is, but technically speaking, I gotta like draw back the line because what am I gonna do with 5 Delta E175s and what routes am I gonna like place this? So I scaled it back, just took 2 away, so I'll only have 3 Delta E175s in my collection because I think 3 Delta E175s makes sense. That way I can easily think of like routes. So like say for instance I want to do SMF to Vegas or SMF to Seattle or SMF to LAX. I can use either of these aircraft. But other than that, really glad to have another Delta E175, and I just want to feature a Delta E175 in a mass unboxing because yes. But if you haven't seen a review of me going into full detail about this Delta E175, then that card should appear on your screen right now. But for the sake of this, since I already reviewed this model like a year ago, I decided to unbox it and show it to you guys. So yeah, this is a very cool model. November 274 Sierra Yankee is the registration about this aircraft, the registration of this aircraft, and there she is. And yeah, a very popular model. I'm guessing that's already, I'm guessing this is already sold out on Gemini Jets' website, but holy moly, this is just a fantastic model from Gemini Jets. And yeah, I was really happy when they announced this in their October 2023 releases. I'm really glad Gemini Jets has finally made this model in 1:1 scale, and it's a very pleasing model for all the American collectors right there. So that's one down, and no more Delta 175s for the near future. But other than that, I'm really glad to have this in my collection, and it just looks fantastic. I'm not sure why the wings, like the aircraft, is sitting down like that, but other than that, still happy with my Delta 175. So now I have 3, and I can't complain. I'm already done. But other than that, nice model from Gemini Jets, and thank you Todd Michaels and Elliot Epstein for this model right here. Just a fantastic model. I'm really glad to have it. I'll say though, I think they could have done a little bit more painting on the tip of this wing right there. But other than that, can't complain. Have my sturdy Delta 175 and nothing to complain about. So that's it for the regional models. Let's move on to the mainline aircraft. Alright, let's move on to some mainline planes now. And I think I got dozens of, like, pretty much a ton of, like, mainline aircrafts from the convention. And yeah, many of them are kind of like pivotal assets for many of my airports and airlines. Some of them I just want to get for the sake of it, but here we go. So I'm just super excited to have these in my collection. And overall, these are going to be pivotal assets. So I'm going to go alphabetical order from each airline. So we're going to get started with Delta Airlines. And I got a handful of Delta Airlines planes. So we're going to get started with our first one with the Gemini Jets. 1/400 scale, Delta Airlines Boeing 717-200. Super excited to have another 717 in my collection. The last 717 I actually got was from Hawaiian Airlines. And yeah, like I have a Hawaiian Airlines, so I want to get a Delta Airlines because I did see them. I think I've seen plenty of them in Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson during my layover, and wow, these aircrafts are really cool. And honestly, while it's supposed to be the MD-95, I'm glad it still retained like the MD-95, like the MD-80 style, but it's just shortened, and it has like the BMW Rolls-Royce engine. So really glad to have this in my collection, and it's gonna be a nice asset for my Delta Airlines fleet. So you got the Gemini Jets 25th anniversary logo right there, even though it's already 2024. Midfield collectors by collectors, you got the 717 itself, the CGI image, Boeing 717-200, Delta Airlines logo, and the SkyTeam logo, 1/4 scale die-cast small aircraft. Your sides, kind of like the same size as for like most models from Gemini Jets. You got the backside right there, you got the CGI image of the plane, as well as the guest features with the bullet points, social media pages, the Boeing licensed product, and the Delta Airlines trademark product right there. And this is the 2023 Gemini Jets copyright label right there. I'm guessing it was released somewhere around late 2023. And the honor number of this model is GJDAL2103. And as I look at the aircraft inside that pamphlet, there she is. That's just really cool, honestly. Really nice on how Gemini Jets did this. And here's the description of the Boeing 717, so you can pause to read. And there's also some information about this particular aircraft right there. So let's get into the unboxing, shall we? So yeah, first 717 in a long while. And yeah, Hawaiian Airlines and Delta Airlines are the only 717 operators after Qantas Lynx retired theirs in kind of like around September or October. But other than that, there she is. And man, that isn't just a wow, really cool model right here from Gemini Jets. Glad they still have the 717 mold in their database. But other than that, this is just really cool. Really reliving the memories of my time in Atlanta. But Airliners International 2025 will be next year, so I'm super excited to see them during my stay in ATL. But other than that, well, I'll go over ATL if I already go there in that case. But other than that, what a cool model this is, and I'm really glad Gemini Jets has made another Delta 717. And yeah, great work Gemini Jets on this model, by the way. Look at that beautiful mad pup. And here's the Gemini Jets 1/400 scale Delta Airlines Boeing 717. This is another nice model from Gemini Jets, and yeah, their 717 model looks absolutely very nice. And other than that, really nice to have this model for my Delta Airlines collection. And yeah, it's just a fantastic model right there. So let's get started with the review if I can try to focus. There we go. So you got the cockpit windows right there. I also like on how they added like the gray outlines to the cockpit windows. And then you got the nose shape of the 717, which almost looks similar to like the MD-80 and MD-90. You got some Peter tubes at the top right there and some stack ports. You got the nose landing gear and nose landing gear door right there. You got the radome shape outlined. You got the L1 boring door right there, the L1 boring door, and then the Sky Team logo, which is just placed on the boring door, which I'm not sure why they placed it there, but yeah, it's there. You also got the decal that says Delta is the most awarded airline, and it shows all their like companies that awarded Delta Airlines for this like milestone right there. So all your various like awards from various companies, and yeah, that's why Delta Airlines is the most awarded airline right there. You also got some stackboard details right there. You got the Delta Airlines logo right there, and your top antenna right there, just your single top antenna. Moving on to this section of the aircraft, you got your emergency exit doors, and I also do like the fact that there's like some kind of like separation between the cargo bins and then like the fuselage itself, so you can see that line right there. I love on how Gemini Jets was able to like make this in like 1/400 form, so that is absolutely really cool right there. You got the cantilever wing, which basically there's nothing that's placed on the wings, but yeah, that's that. There's the main land gear right there, and then here is the wings of the aircraft right there. So wings of the plane, you got your various like flap slats, details, and your emergency exit decals right there. Ailerons as well, which I think I think the ailerons are like metallic almost, like it gets that chrome reflectance, so I'm guessing this could be like a metallic color, I'm guessing. But yeah, there it is. And then moving on to the back area, you got your US flag right there and the aircraft registration, November 9908 Alpha Tango, which this aircraft used to operate for AirTran. And then you got the engine right there. These are the BMW Rolls-Royce, I think the 7115. Yeah, these are the BMW Rolls-Royce engines. I kind of like forgot the engine type on top of my head, but these are like the BMW Rolls-Royce. They're like joint companies that made this engine. So yeah, there's the BMW Rolls-Royce engine right there. Kind of like forgot the aircraft type on top of my head, but I'll pull up a text on what it is. But yeah, that is the engines right there, and they produce a nice sound. And if you were to see it right, like if you were seated right here on the 717, then you really get the true feeling of like a spool up right there. They also added some like fins right there for aerodynamic purposes, so that's really cool. Moving on to the area right there, the back plane, like the back side of the plane, you got your screwdriver empennage right there, which you'll see most of them on 717s. And the Delta Airlines widget logo right there, containing the ship number and the horizontal stabilizers, representing the aircraft's T-tail. And this is quite an interesting T-tail, I say. Not sure what's going on here at this tip. I'm not sure if that's actually featured on the 717, but still, it's really cool. Here's the front section of the aircraft right there, which I think Gemini Jets also did a good job. Not sure how the cockpit windows are kind of slanted, but it almost looks like they're straight, but yeah, that's that. You also got some nice engine fan blade details on the engines as well. And then moving on to the starboard section of the plane. Let me zoom out real quick. And yeah, here's the starboard section of the aircraft. You got your sole R door right there, which is smaller than the L door. And then your sole cargo bin right there. Moving on to the top view of the aircraft. So, here's the top view of the plane. Not much on detail. I mean, you can see slightly a little bit of details, but you can see the red beacon light right there. Moving on to the bottom section of the aircraft, you can see the Delta Airlines logo. Let me just like, oops. Kind of accidentally hit my camera, but here's the Delta Airlines logo right there. You also got some bottom details as well, which I think it looks very nice. You got your stand hole right there and the Gemini Jets logo. Moving on to the front section of the plane. Once again, here's a much more better view. So here's the front view of the aircraft right there. Yeah, that's really cool. I also like the fact that the T-tails are like the T-tail is also straight, more in particular horizontal stabilizers, and here's the back side as well. So overall, what a nice model right there. Really glad to have another 717 in my collection, and overall, it's just a really cool model right there. And yeah, hopefully I can try to fly on a 717 because I would like to fly on a Delta Mad Pup in the future if ever I go to Atlanta and go to like a short haul destination from there. But other than that, it's a really cool model, and yeah, nice that Gemini Jets was able to like make a 1/400 model out of this. But other than that, really cool model. Let's move on to our next mainline plane. This next aircraft we'll be taking a look at is another model I'm super excited to add to my collection. It's another Delta Airlines model, and this model in particular, I'm just really surprised on how Gemini Jets was able to make this. But I think it's another re-release, but I decided to get this for some other purposes that I'll be doing in some of my airport updates. But this model in particular, I mean, I have this in my collection, but this has a different configuration. But I'm just beyond excited to have this, as we have the Gemini Jets 1/400 scale Delta Airlines Boeing 757-200 Gen 2 without winglets. I'm super excited to have this. This is also known as the VIP configuration Delta 757 because I would see a lot of these at Sacramento during basketball, like during Kings seasons, like when the Sacramento Kings go to their games. I'm not sure if they use this aircraft, but all I can know is like they would use this aircraft if like any other team from the NBA would fly to Sacramento to play against the Kings. And yeah, really cool model right here. And yeah, super excited to have this model for my collection and Delta Airlines in general. You got the Gemini Jets, kind of like the same thing, Gemini Jets 25th anniversary logo right there, even though it's 2024. Made for collectors by collectors, you got the aircraft right there, Boeing 757-200. Delta Airlines, the Sky Team logo, one for a scale die-cast small aircraft, which I'm surprised at how small it is. Like, compared to my previous boxes, I think they will start from here and end from here, but I was not expecting them to have it this small. So, really interesting right there. Here's the bottom section. And yeah, all your various sides. Box kind of was a little bit beaten up a bit because of like transit, but I was able to like tape it at least. And then here's the back side. Yeah, you could kind of really see it. I think this area is really worse. Like this is where like most of like wear and tear is about to happen. So yeah, kind of like worse on the side. You got the as well as the guest features right there. All your various like social media pages from Gemini Jets. Boeing licensed product and the Delta Airlines trademark logo right there. And then this is a 2024 Gemini Jets copyright label right there. They released it somewhere around quarter 2 of 2024 if I were to guess. So and yeah. And here's the model itself, the item number GJDAL 2097. And let's have a look at that model inside that pamphlet. Look at that beauty right there. Doesn't she look fantastic? And here's the description of the aircraft so you can pause and read to learn about the aircraft's history and this particular aircraft in general. And let's get into the unboxing. So yeah, really nice model, and yeah, it'll be perfect if I were to do some like VIP charters or anything, more in particular like NBA charters. But other than that, as I take her out of the box, or cradle in this case, and man, that just looks really awesome. Yeah, Gemini Jets 757 mold looks very nice, and take a look at that. That's just really cool right there. Man. What a nice job from Gemini Jets on their 757 molds right there. And other than that, really nice to have another Delta 757 for my collection. So I actually have the retro aircraft, like the widget livery. So now I have this one in the upward and outward. So really nice work from Gemini Jets right there. And here's the Gemini Jets 1/400 scale Delta Airlines Boeing 757-200 in the Gen 2 configuration without winglets. What a cool model this is from Gemini Jets, and overall, really glad to have this model for my collection and Delta Airlines collection to represent some VIP charters, more particular basketball charters in this case. So let's get started with the review. So you got the cockpit windows right there and the nose shape of the aircraft, which I think Gemini Jets did a good job on the nose shape printing, or like the nose shape molding of the 757. It's not the best in the world, but I think Gemini Jets was able to like somewhat accurately represent that. You got the Sky Team logo right there. You got your, oops, don't know what was that. You got your L1 boarding door right there, and the nose landing gear, and the nose landing gear door right there, containing part of the aircraft ship number or registration. You got all the various like stuff right there. You got like a Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi right there, and then Delta's is the most awarded airline decal right there. You got the Delta Airlines logo right there, which I think Gemini Jets did a great job on the printing of the logo. You also got your L2 boarding door as well. Well, these can either be used as a door, but this is more like a primary boarding door right there. You got your windows right there, which I think Gemini Jets also did a great job on the printing on these 757s, like the 757 windows. You got your top antenna right there, and your stack port details right there. And then there's the Pratt & Whitney PW2000 engines, and then there's the main landing gear right there. And then you can see the emergency exit doors on this side, the overwing exits right there, which is one of the characteristics of a Gen 2 Boeing 757, because Gen 1 does not have these. More like the Gen 2 planes, I'm not sure when they were made, but the Gen 2 planes have these emergency exit windows. There's some Delta Airlines 757s that have Gen 2 configurations, but with winglets. But most of them are like Gen 2s without winglets, and this is a example right here. So as you can see, no winglets right there, but there's like some sort of extension piece, like an extension area over there. Moving on to the wing details, so you can see all the various wing details. You got some pretty details right there, like the emergency exit slide indicators right there. It's your pilot details, slat details, flap details, all your various spoilers and ailerons, and your flap track canoes right there. Let me set her down. And then moving on to the back side of the plane, not in the empennage, but you also got your Wi-Fi dome right there. You also got your various like extra details right there. US flag and the aircraft registration November 683 Delta Alpha. You got your L2 door right there, or L3 door in this case. And then moving on to the empennage area of the plane, you got your APU, the tip of the APU, just the APU in general, and the horizontal stabilizers, and the Delta Airlines upward and onward tail. Let me focus. There we go. So here's the upward and onward tail with the aircraft's registration and ship number right there at the very top of the tail. So overall, another good model from Gemini Jets right there. And yeah, Gemini Jets still continued to kill it with their 757 molds. Here's the front section of the aircraft. As you can see, you can see some family details, which I think Gemini Jets did a good job on that. And yeah, all your various like cockpit window printings, which I think it looks nice as well. And then moving on to the starboard area of the plane, you got your R door, so R1, R2, and R3 right there. And then there's your forward cargo bin right there, and your aft cargo bin right there. Moving on to a top view of the plane, so let me just position it. So here's the top view of the plane right there. Nice details right there. What more can I say? Moving on to the bottom, let me just position it so you can see the Delta Airlines logo on the underbelly of the aircraft. So here it is right there. You got your stand hole and your Gemini Jets logo. There's there's more additional details. You can see a 757-200 logo right there. Rat turbine door and main landing gear door right there. It's another one-piece mold, which I'm not sure when Gemini Jets will have a two-piece 757 mold, but yeah, they still kept their mold ever since. Here's the front view of the plane once again. Not sure what's going on with the horizontal stabilizers, but I can't complain. If you want to see like a back view, then yeah, here it is right there. But I think the horizontal stabilizers are placed very nicely on this aircraft right here. So overall, what a cool model this is, and yeah, really nice to have a Delta 757-200 without winglets. And under that, Gemini Jets still continue killing it on these 757 molds. While not the best as NG, I still think Gemini Jets still has a nice 757 mold, and overall, really glad to have it. And overall, it's a nice model for pretty much my Delta Airlines collection. And yeah, these can be useful if I were to do some like charter flights or VIP MBA flights. But other than that, still a nice model, and I'm really glad to have it. The next model we'll be taking a look at is another model that I do want to add for my collection. Now, I'm not sure what I'm going to be using this for, but more in particular, this is some kind of model I do want to have because there's like a connection I have with this particular plane, and overall, it's another aircraft type for my collection because I have a couple of them in my collection overall, but I'm super excited to add another one, and that's going to be the Gemini Jets 1/400 scale Emirates Air Cargo McDonnell Douglas MD-83 SF. Now, I know this is kind of like an oddball for this mass unboxing, but the reason why I got this is because I did get to see an Emirates Air Cargo MD-83 at Sacramento's McClellan Airport back in April 2023, and that was actually my first ever Mad Dog catch overall, so I was really relieved that I finally have a photo of an MD-80 on my photo album. But yeah, what a way to represent that by getting this model. But other than that, Gemini Jets has rarely made some Emirates Air Cargo. I think the last time they made one was I think it was a DC-6, kind of like around the 2020 time frame or 2019. But yeah, that's how long it has been since we last saw an Emirates Air Cargo model made in 1/400 scale from Gemini Jets. But other than that, I'm just super excited to have this for my Mad Dog collection. So you got the Gemini Jets 25th anniversary logo right there, nothing to complain about, made for collectors by collectors, MD-83, Emirates Air Cargo tiles with their 1/400 scale diecast small aircraft. Your sides are just pretty much the same at this point, nothing to go over too much. And moving on to the back, you got the back side, nothing to go over too much as well, as well as the guest features, and here are your bullet points. You got the Boeing licensed product right there, although it's a Boeing licensed product, but McDonnell Douglas, Boeing bought McDonnell Douglas around the 90s, so they still put these licensed products under McDonnell Douglas aircraft. And here's the social media pages right there. And here's the 2024 Gemini Jets copyright label right there. And the item number of this model is GJ-VTS 2067. So, let's have a look at that model inside this pamphlet, and take a look at that. Really cool stuff right there from Gemini Jets, and their Mad Dog models are very nice. Anyways, here is the description of the MD-83, and just like the MD-80 family in general, so you can pause the read, and you can also take a look at this particular aircraft right there. And let's have a look at this model as we unbox it. So here we go. So overall, it's really cool to have. Yeah, this is my first MD-80 freighter in my collection. I know there isn't really many MD-83s freighters. The only airline I can think of is this particular plane. I think there are a couple MD-83 SFs out there. like outside the world. But on that, really glad to have this. And as I take a look, there she is, and she is intact. Man, that's just, let me zoom it up closer. Let me pull it up closer. That is just a really cool aircraft right there. Really nice to have an MD-83 SF in my collection and another Mad Dog in my collection overall. I know I have so many passenger MD-80s from American, TWA, and some other airlines, but this model in particular I'm just really glad to have. But other than that, another nice MD-80 in my collection, and really glad to have it for my Mad Dog fleet. And here's the Gemini Jets 1/400 scale Everett Air Cargo McDonnell Douglas MD-83 Special Freighter. This is another nice Mad Dog from Gemini Jets right here, and I'm overall really glad to have this. It's like one of the modern MD-80s, like the airlines that still fly the MD-80s as of today. They also got USA Jet, and I think some other airlines outside of the US, but those are the airlines from the US I can think of. But other than that, really nice to have this. So, oh yeah, World Atlantic too. They also operate passenger charter flights too. But let's get started with the review. So you got the cockpit windows right there and the eyebrow windows. Of course, that's the iconic like cockpit windows on the MD-80 itself. You got the nose shape, similar to the 717. I think they also did a nice job on the nose shape of the MD-80. You got your nose landing gear and nose landing gear door right there. You got your forward ventral fins right there, which I think Gemini Jets also did a good job on molding those in. You got your L1 boarding door, or just your door in general. You also got your US flag right there, and then you can see the blocked out windows, which this aircraft used to operate for passengers, but since it was converted into the freighter, it's now classified as a SF or special freighter, so you can see that right there. And then here's like the livery itself. I like on how the livery starts like from a very thin line right there at the forward area, and then it transitions into like I think that's like a more of a blue and like a blue cheat line, and then very tiny like yellow areas over there, so that's really cool. You got your top antenna right there. Moving on to this side of the aircraft, you got your cargo holder, like the cargo bin right there, so that this opens up so you can load the cargo. You also got some static port details right there. And then moving on this side, you got more blocked windows and the Everett Air Cargo tiles right there. You also got your cantilever wing right there and your main landing gear. Once again, a cantilever wing is basically nothing, just placing the engine from engines and just like all that. So no engines nor anything are featured on this wing. Here's a top view of the plane right there, so you can see all the various like details, like emergency indicators right there, which I'm not sure why that's there, even though the window's already blocked. But yeah, it's there. But I'm not sure what they're gonna do with that. I mean, I think I can see some emergency exit doors, so they might use that so all like the crew can get out of this side. But yet again, it's blocked by cargo, so there could be a cargo door, but who knows. Anyways, you got all your printed details right there. You got your slide details, flap details, and all your aileron details. And when I pull up the bottom, you can see the flap track canoes right there, which I'm not sure if they're actually canoes, but yeah, I think they're canoes, but not really exactly canoes, but they're just like fairings. But yeah, and then moving on to this side, you got your L2 door. Yeah, this is an L2 door, just a blocked out L2 door right there. And then some more details, like panel details right there. And then moving on to the back area of the aircraft, you got the top antenna right there, you have top back antenna right there. And then there's your JTAD engines that produces a very iconic sound when the aircraft is on, when the engines are spooled. And yeah, these are really cool engines. Really glad to witness all like the engines at low thrust when it was landing at McClellan. So really cool. And you got the aircraft registration right there, November 965 Charlie Echo. This is not the exact aircraft I saw in McClellan, but I did actually see its sister ship, November 964 Charlie Echo. So it was one number up, but other than that, I mean, it's the sister ship, what more can I say? But other than that, really cool to see its sister ship, 964. And then moving on to the empennage of the aircraft, you got your screwdriver empennage right there, which is like what you see commonly on MD-80s nowadays. The earlier versions had a pointed tip empennage, but yeah. But this is like the difference right there. But I think this is a more iconic design for the MD-80 right there. And then moving on, we have the Everett Air Cargo tail right there, which has the Alaska tiles, and then pretty much the Alaskan flag. You can see like the Big Dipper right there, and then like the star at the very top right there. And of course, you got your horizontal stabilizers, which represents the aircraft's T-tail. So yeah, a really cool MD-80 in my collection once again, and really, yeah, I'm really glad to have another MD-80. Grabbing these like MD-80s are really cool, honestly, and yeah, they're just very iconic planes during its time. And then here's the front view of the aircraft. you can't hardly see any like fan blade details, even though if I could focus it. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can see it, but I think Gemini Jets did a good job on the fan blade details of this MD-80, and alongside the cockpit windows, I think they're also well printed straightly. Like, they're well printed. So that's really cool right there. Moving on to the starboard section of the plane right there. Nothing really to go over in the front section, the forward, like the starboard section. You got your small R door right there. You got your forward cargo bin as well. So here's the forward cargo bin. And the aft cargo bin should be right there. Moving on to a top view of the plane. So let me just position her. So here's the top view of the plane right there. I can barely see some detail right there. I mean, I can see beacon light and then some other extra details right there. Moving on to the bottom, if I can maneuver it. There we go, so you can see the bottom detail. There's a lot more details on the bottom section. You got your stand hole right there and your Gemini Jets logo right there. You also got your red beacon light right there. And then you can see like the APU door housing right there. So really cool on how Gemini Jets was able to put that there, like add some detail at the bottom. And then some kind of like form of like maybe escape pad right there, because like this can technically open up and then passengers can escape in case of an emergency. Moving on to the front section of the aircraft. Let me try holding her. This is a two-piece, right? Oh yeah, this is two-piece. So let me hold her like this. So here's the forward area of the aircraft once again. So really cool right there. I think they did a good job on various details at the front. And here's the back view of the aircraft right there. So overall, really nice to have another MD-80 in my collection and my first MD-80 special freighter. So overall, great work Gemini Jets, and yeah, really nice to have an Everest Air Cargo in my collection. Not sure if I want to get more, but I will have to go to Alaska if I were to see these planes. They also have some DC-6s there too that are still in operation, but yeah. Other than that, really cool to have an MD-80 in my collection from Everest Air Cargo, and they did a wonderful job on this 1-400 model. So that's it for the MD-80 right there, the beautiful Mad Dog Special Freighter. Let's move on to our next mainline plane. The next model we'll be taking a look at is one that I'm super excited to add to my collection, more in particular this airline, and I always been wanting to have this particular aircraft in my collection for a long time, and Gemini Jets did announce this. I'm guessing it was in their April or May 2023 releases, or 2024 I mean, I'm sorry, but this is what I'm really excited for. I'm just super excited. I think it was April, I think, if I can recall, but I think it's either April or May, but I'm excited for this. Really glad to have an asset to this in my collection, and I don't even have words, but I'm just super excited to finally feature this model in this unboxing. And that is the NG models, not NG, we'll move to NG later, but we have the Gemini Jets 1/400 scale United Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 9 in the Evo Blue livery. Honestly, I've been wanting to have an Evo Blue MAX 9 in my collection for a long time. There hasn't been any like model manufacturer other than Aero Classics that made this particular plane, but we've like I mean, don't get me wrong, the Aero Classics, I mean, it's okay, but there hasn't been any manufacturer. NG nor Gemini Jets has never made this before, but Gemini Jets somehow made it first. And yeah, I think this was under April 2024 releases, but this is really a pivotal asset for my United Airlines collection. An Evo Blue MAX 9, there's a lot of these floating around in the US, and I'm just really glad to have this for my United Airlines collection. Man, this is gonna be huge right here. So you got the 25th anniversary logo right there. Made for collectors by collectors. You got the CGI image of the plane. Boeing 737 MAX 9 is also right there. United Airlines logo. 4-400 scale die-cast small aircraft. You got your sides right here. All your various like sides, so nothing really to go over about. Box kind of has some wear and tear, like some wear. Kind of like got a little crush from my suitcase. Once again, that's because of like traveling from Kansas City back to Sacramento. But yeah, it is what it is. And at least the model is still intact. Well, I mean, need to expect it first. But you got your as well as the guest features right there, all your bullet points. You got your social media pages right there, Boeing licensed product, United Airlines trademark right there, 2024 Gemini Jets copyright label right there. And the item number of this model is GJUAL2226. Let's have a look at that model inside. Man, I'm super excited, but there she is. Wow, that's just really, really cool, man. So happy to finally have an Evo Blue MAX 9 in my collection right there. And then here's the description of the 737 MAX 9 and probably like some other 737 MAX variants. So you got that, and then you can also read about this particular aircraft right there. Man, no words can describe it. Let's unbox it. Now, NG Models actually did announce this too in the November 2024 releases, so I might have to pick that up as well. But Gemini Jets were the first, like, Gemini Jets beats NG on releasing this, but I might do a comparison once I get the NG, but oh man, that is just awesome right there. So yeah, I will have to inspect it just to make sure it didn't came broken during transit, and yeah, but she is intact. Man, that is just amazing. Wow, let me zoom it up closer. I am so happy to finally have a United 737 MAX 9 in the stunning Evo Blue livery in my collection. Wow, that's... Woo! Wow, that is just a phenomenal job from GJ right there. Wow. That's fantastic. And while NG, I haven't seen NG's version coming out. Like, I haven't seen NG's version of the model. They just recently released that model as of this recording from their November 2024 releases. But for now, I have this Gemini Jets version right there, and probably soon I might have to pick up the NG version as well to do a comparison on it. But this is just a phenomenal job from Gemini Jets right there, and I'm really glad to have it for my United Airlines collection. And here's the Gemini Jets 1/400 scale United Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 9 in the stunning Evo Blue livery. What more can I say? I'm just really happy to finally have this model in my collection. It's been a long time coming to get this model, and I'm really glad to have it. I did purchase this on day 2 of Airliners International 2024, and overall, it's just a really, really cool model right there. Once again, great work, NG. Not NG. I was thinking about the NG because I want to get that too, but great work, Gemini Jets, on this model right here. So, you got the cockpit windows right there, you got the nose shape of the aircraft. I mean, not really the best in the world, but I think Gemini Jets still did a good job on the nose shape of the 737. You got your radome right there, your pitot tubes right there, and then all your various stag ports right there. You got your Star Alliance logo right there, connecting people uniting the world tiles right there. Nose landing gear, and the nose landing gear door can take the part of the plane's chip number and the ETOPS logo. I think, did I mention L1 boarding door? If not, there it is. Moving on to the middle section, well, this side of the aircraft, you got your big United billboard tiles right there, and then of course you got the characteristics of the Evo Blue livery. So you got that navy blue line that swoops all the way across the aircraft, and then you got your gray underbelly right there. And then you got your windows, which I think Gemini Jets also did a good job on the printing in the windows. Moving on to the middle section of the plane, you got your LEAP 1B engines right there, which I think Gemini Jets also did a good job on sizing and details. No rocket ships on this engine, which is good. You got your top antennas and your Wi-Fi dome. Yeah, you got your top antennas, so your front and back. You also got your Wi-Fi dome as well. There's your main landing gear right there, and then there's your AT winglet. Really accurate in size right there, so great work, Gemini Jets, on that. Moving on to the front section, well, wing section I mean. You got all your various details right there, like printed details, emergency exit details. There's your emergency exit doors right there, by the way. And then I think they also had some landing lights, which I think that's really cool. You got your flat track canoes, slide details, spoilers and ailerons, and your flaps as well. And all she wrote. Yeah, that's all she wrote. All your various details right there. Moving on to the back area of the aircraft, you got your other windows right there. And then there's the aircraft's door plug, which, yeah, nothing too much on the door plug situation of January 2024, but what more can I say? At least they got it fixed. So yeah, at least this door plug does not, I mean, I don't think this door plug is ever going to come up since this is a diecast model, but yeah, there it is. You also got your L2 door right there. And then you got the aircraft registration, November 37555, which I happened to see at San Francisco International Airport back in January 2024. And I got it was getting dark around that time, but I was still able to catch it while she was departing on 28 right. So, or not 28 right, 28 left. So, yeah, that's the runway that took off from SFO. But I do have that picture on your screen right now. Overall, once again, a good shot. And yeah, really glad to have another picture of a United Evo Blue MAX 9. And I think this was the last 737 MAX 9 I saw before the grounding treatment took place after that Alaska Airlines incident. So, what a coincidence right there. So, that was the last aircraft I saw. Gemini Jets did release it, and there it is. It's in my collection now, so quite the turn of events right there. What more can I say? Anyways, you got your US flag right there, and the ship number of the plane right there. And then moving on to the empennage, you got your APU, almost like a 787's APU, and then you also got the horizontal stabilizers as well. And the United Airlines Evo Blue tail, which Honestly, I think the coloring looks nice. The light blue over here may appear a bit dull on my camera, but I think it should look good if I were to take this aircraft on sunlight. But other than that, I think Gemini Jets also did a good job on the printing of the evil blue tail. Moving on to the front section of the aircraft, all your various details and all this stuff. You got your fan blade stuff right there, which I think Gemini Jets did a good job on doing so. And then you got your cockpit windows right there, which they're aligned and straight. And then moving on to the starboard section of the aircraft right there, you got your R doors, or R1 and R2, and then you got your forward cargo bin right there, and your aft cargo bin right there. Moving on to the top view of the aircraft, so here's the top view of the plane. Overall, some nice details and all that stuff. You got your radome, like your Wi-Fi dome and all your antennas and your red beacon light right there. Moving on to the bottom, same goes for the bottom, but there's more details. Well, kinda. I mean, there's printed air intakes, but what more can I say? You got your Gemini Jets logo, which is very tiny, which, holy smokes, that is a tiny Gemini Jets logo for a 737 MAX 9. You also got your stand hole right there. Moving on to the front view of the aircraft, so here's the front view of the plane. Looking very nice right there. As previously mentioned before, the cockpit windows are well straight and printed. And then here's the back view of the MAX 9 right there. So overall, what a nice model from Gemini Jets, and yeah, really glad to finally have a MAX 9 Evo Blue model in my collection, like an Evo Blue 737 MAX 9 in my collection. Gemini Jets did a wonderful job on this model here, and I'm really glad to have it for my collection. And yeah, it's just a nice model. Their MAX 9, the MAX 9 mold is really excellent. I mean, NG models is gonna be coming soon, and the NG version is gonna be coming soon, but once again, I'll pick that up so I can do a comparison on this particular model. But other than that, this is just another job well done from Gemini Jets, and I'm really glad to have this for my United Airlines collection. So that's it for this aircraft right there. Let's move on. Okay, let's take a break from Gemini Jets for now, because I think I covered so many Gemini Jets models in the past unboxings. I think there were 8 Gemini Jets models I had for the past minutes, but we do have another model manufacturer. Now, if you guys remember that I got this particular, one model from this particular brand from Airliners 2023, well, I guess I got another one from here. So, it's another airline that I want to have, and this particular design is what I wanted to have for pretty much a long time. But other than that, I'm really glad to have this particular aircraft in my collection, and that's gonna be this beauty right here. That is the Altitude Models 1/400 scale JetBlue Airbus A320 with the high-rise tail. I've seen a couple of these aircraft a couple of times, and overall, I'm really glad to have a high-rise tail. I originally was gonna be going for that Aero Classics one, however, that is so rare to find. Even when I look at it on eBay, that goes up for a big, hefty price, so I decided to scratch that off. But once I saw Altitude Models release this in West Coast Diecast, I decided to get this. Either way, it's the Panda molds. It's basically the Panda mold, but they just branded it as Altitude Models. But other than that, we're really glad to have this. So let's get started. So you got the Airbus A320 200 tiles right there. You got the CGI image of the aircraft. This aircraft in particular has a mismatched nose cone or radome right there. So that's they actually had this. This one part in particular is actually different. You got the Altitude logos right there, and I honestly really like the design of this. You got the high-rise pattern that overlies the front of the box. That is just really cool. So great work Altitude Models on this amazing design right there. Really cool. 1/4 scale diecast aircraft model. You got the aircraft registration November 5 999 Juliet Bravo. Here's the bottom side, which shows a green background, and you got the aircraft right there. This shows the various high-rise background. You got 1/4 scale, Airbus A320 200. The top is almost similar, except it's just a blue background, and the left side is just the same. And then you got your various characteristics. You got the specifications of the Airbus A320. I think this is the first flight date of this particular aircraft, I'm guessing. But you got the CGI image of the aircraft, Airbus A320 tiles right there. Made in China, Altitude Models logo, all your warnings. And yeah, you got the first flight date, which was on November 15th, 2024. Which basically that's tomorrow as of this recording. So I'm guessing this aircraft is now pretty much 20 years old ever since its first flight. And this aircraft was delivered on December 15th, a month later. So yeah, really cool model right there. And yeah, there's actually a difference on this model because, as I mentioned before, there's one that has the mismatched radome. However, as I open up the box, so let me just do this. Don't confuse yourself if this is actually going to be the mismatched radome, because this one does not have the mismatched radome. And as you can see, you can tell because it doesn't label as a mismatched radome right there. So I think, yeah, altitude models, like when I first came across this model, I was like, hey, which one of them does not feature like the mismatched radome? And then they sent me one, and then they pointed out that there's no like label that has the mismatched radome. So I'm like, that's an option for me if I want to get the mismatched radome, but I decided to go for this one since I just like the design of it. I mean, I might try to go for something like mismatch in the future, but not at this time. But as I inspect the model for some QC, like anything QC related, which technically I don't think I had, so that's good, that's good, that's good, and that's good. Let me check the tail, and there she is, the altitude models A320 from JetBlue in the high-rise tail. Let me just, I think I'm blocking the cockpit windows, but there she is right there. And honestly, altitude models did a wonderful job on this model right here, and yeah, it's a nice model for my JetBlue collection. And I'm not sure how many high-rise tails are still floating around, but I would normally see a high-rise, spotlight, and a spotlight pad, which I'm gonna go through later on. But on that, still a good model, and I'm really glad to have it. And here's the altitude models 1/400 scale JetBlue Airbus A320 with the high-rise tail. Once again, job well done from altitude models right there, and I know it is the Panda mode, but other than that, they still did a great job on the QC stuff. And yeah, for the past altitude models I got, they never came broken, so, I mean, it's a Panda mode, but maybe I could try getting a Panda, like a quote-unquote Panda model, and hopefully that doesn't come broken. But other than that, I'm still glad to have this model regardless. So you got the cockpit windows right there, and then you got the nose shape, which I think they did a good job. The Panda mold has a very nice A320 nose design, which I think it almost looks as accurate to like the real life counterpart, but in addition to that, it almost looks similar to NG's version right there. You got your nose landing gear right there, and nose landing gear door can take part of the aircraft registration. You got your L1 boarding door right there, and your top antenna, and then you got the Free Fly 5 logo right there, and then some other like decal right there. You got some pedostatic details right there, and then you got the aircraft name right there, which is If the Blue Fits. ... But yeah, what a cool name for this particular A320. You got your JetBlue billboard tiles right there. You got your emergency exits, and there's your IAE B2500 engines with the JetBlue.com tiles, and all your various like details. And honestly, there's like really good amount of details on the pylons as well. So great work on that right there. There's your Wi-Fi dome right there, and your back antennas right there as well. In addition, I also want to mention the main landing gear too. Moving on to some wing details. So here are your wing details right there. Once again, nothing to go over, but I do like the fact that there's like different colors. So you got your emergency winglet, like the emergency exit light indicators right there. All your various like flat track canoes or fairings. There's your fence tip winglet right there, which I think they also did a great job on getting the design right. And then you also got your slide details and all your flaps and spoiler aileron details as well. Moving on to the back area of the aircraft. You got your US flag right there, and the aircraft registration November 599er Juliet Bravo, and the Airbus A320 tiles right there. You got your L2 door right there. And then moving on to the empennage, oh, I forgot to mention that bottom antenna right there. And now moving on to the empennage, you got your APU of the aircraft right there, and your horizontal stabilizers, and they also got some good details too. You also got the trim markers right there. And the beautiful JetBlue high-rise tail, which I think Panda models, aka altitude models, did a wonderful job on the printing right there. So really cool. Moving on to the front section of the aircraft right there. There's like some good section, like good parts, like parts of the front area. So you got like fan blade details on the IAEs, and then you got like straight antennas and well-printed cockpit windows, which I think they also did a good job on. And as I pull up a little bit straight, not sure what's going on. I mean, looking on this side, I mean, it might be coming from my camera, but it almost looks like it appears crooked, but that's nothing really to complain about, but I think it looks straight from if I were to look at it up close. Anyways, moving on to the starboard section of the aircraft, you got your R doors, R1 and R2, right there, and then you got your forward cargo bin, which is located right there, and your aft cargo bin is right there. Moving on to the top view of the aircraft, so here's the top view of the plane. Once again, kind of like your similar details to like NG's details. You got your radome, like various like domes and all your antennas and your red beacon light right there. Moving on to the bottom, you got a lot of detail on the bottom right there. As you can see the main landing gear door right there. I mean, I'm not sure if you can see it because like the blue color, but it's there. You also got your stand hole right there. And all the details, like there's an APU housing door right there, so that's cool. Here's the front section of the aircraft. You got some ground flex configurations on the wings, which looks absolutely excellent. And then moving on to the back, here is the back view of the plane right there. So overall, great work Altitude Models on making this model, and overall they did a phenomenal job on this Airbus A320. And I also got the A320 Spotlight with Sharkless as well from Airliners 2023. So it's really nice to buy another Altitude Models from this year's convention in Kansas City. But under that, they still did a wonderful job on this model right here, and I'm really glad to have it for my JetBlue collection. So that's it for this JetBlue. We also have another JetBlue to take a look at, so let's get into that second JetBlue plane. Alright, the next aircraft we're going to take a look at is another JetBlue model, and I decided to get this because I never had this particular plane design, and well, not really plane, but this particular aircraft in this livery design in my collection. And overall, honestly, when I look at this, it just really looks fantastic, and overall I think this should be a nice asset for my JetBlue collection because I had something similar to this, but this livery is actually different. So without being said, let me introduce you guys to our first engine models of the unboxing. So that's going to be the engine models 1/400 scale JetBlue Airbus A320 in their new livery, the Spotlight pattern. Really excited to have this, as I also have the mint pattern configuration, the Defying Moment plane in the A321. But they also have a couple of A320s in this livery design in their new livery, and overall, I think the Spotlight design or Spotlight pattern looks really cool on this aircraft right there. So, another NG A320 has landed right there. You got the Airbus A320 tiles right there, you got the CGI image of the aircraft, you got a very stunning box design representing the Spotlight pattern on this aircraft. You got the aircraft name, Blue Yorker, you got the engine models logo right there, 1/4 scale, collectible model, die-cast metal. You got the JetBlue logo right there, and the aircraft registration, November 821 Juliet Bravo. And as I pull up the sides, I spent $51 on this. I got this from Spruce Brothers Models, and yeah, not a bad price, honestly. And then you got like the JetBlue logo right there. Here's your top. There's a different top design right there. And then you can see like this is the Spruce Brothers tag right there, the sticker right there. And then you got the back side of the plane, like the box itself, nothing too much, it just says Blue Yorker right there, and your engine models logo is right there. And then you got their social media pages and your warning hazards, and the item number of this model is 15055. Well, not 1055, item number is 15050. So yeah, really nice to have a JetBlue Spotlight pattern new livery now. And yeah, overall, it looks very nice, and honestly, it just, wow, that's a really cool model right there. I also got my CRP right there. This is in the December 2023 format right there. I got a couple of these, so it's really nice to have another one. Alright, so let's unbox this beauty right here. And overall, like JetBlue's, like NG's A320 molds really hit the spot right here. And this is another good example right there. Man, that just looks so cool right there. That's a job well done from NG right there. As I check the QC, nothing right there. Wow, that's just like, honestly, I really love JetBlue's new livery. It's a full body livery, and yeah, you got all the various like pattern designs, which I think it's really cool. I haven't seen their, like I have seen their A321s in their new liveries, but I've never seen their A320s in this design. But hopefully soon in the future. But on that, I think NG Models did a good job on it. They did a good job on this model, and yeah, I'm really glad to also have this for my JetBlue collection. And here's the engine models 1/400 scale JetBlue Airbus A320 in the Spotlight pattern new livery. Man, this is just another cool model right there. I think they also did a good job on the many various like colors and different shades of blue right there alongside the white and orange, but the colors really are saturated on this model, and yeah, that's what engine models are known for. They have these like models, the paint itself is just saturated very well. This is just a really cool model to add to my JetBlue collection. So let's get started with the review. So you got the cockpit windows right there, and then you got the nose shape of it again. Like similar to like the nose shape of the aircraft, it's almost similar to like the Panda version. So great work engine models on getting the nose shape correctly on this aircraft. You got your various like details right there. Let me focus it. There we go. So you got all your various like Panel details, your pitot stack details, nose landing gear, and nose landing gear door containing part of the aircraft registration right there. You got the aircraft name. Once again, this aircraft is named Blue Yorker, almost similar to like New Yorker since they're based out of New York City. You got the JetBlue billboard tiles right there, painted in white. And then moving on to this side, you got your emergency exit doors right there. You got your IAE V2500 engines right there. You got some very like nice details on the engines alongside the pylons as well. You also got your main landing gear. And then you got the orange sharklet right there, which is one of the characteristics on the Spotlight livery because they have some orange in their tails right there. So really cool. Moving on to some wing detail. So let me just position it like this. So here are the wing details right there. Almost similar to like the pan version. There's like very nice well details from the slats, canoes, the flap track canoes, slats, and like I mentioned slats already, with flaps, aileron details, and then your ground spoiler details and flight spoiler details, and all your various printed details like the emergency exit indicator right there. And then moving on to like the back area, and this is where like the spotlight pattern begins, like the spotlight design. So you got like a white circle right there, and it overlaps between like a light blue circle right there, and then there's some circles that have like an orange rim on it, and the light blue, like a light blue circle with an orange rim, and then you got your various like spotlight stuff right there. You got your US flag right there, and the aircraft registration, November 821 Juliet Bravo. You got the Airbus A320 tiles over there as well. Then there's your back antennas and your Wi-Fi dome, and I forgot to mention, I'm not sure if I mentioned already the top antenna, but there it is. And then moving on to this side, you got the L2 door right there, and the empennage area of the aircraft where you can see most of the spotlight tail over there, like the spotlight design. You got your APU and the horizontal stabilizers, and the tail itself, which is another addition of like various circles right there. And then as you can see, I do love the details on the rudder. That's just like just so much level of detail from NG, and I think they did a wonderful job on doing that. Moving on to the front section of the aircraft, as you can see some details of the fan blades on this aircraft, and then you can see some like circles right there, which represents the middle of each engine. You also got your cockpit windows, which I think Engine Malls did a good job on like the printing of the cockpit windows on this A320. They're well leveled and straight. And then moving on to the starboard section of the aircraft, so here are your R doors, R1, R2, and it's hard to see like the forward cargo bins, so I'm guessing the cargo bins, like the forward area, should be right there, and then probably the aft area. It's also hard to see the aft area, but I'm guessing it's somewhere within this area right here. Moving on to the top view of the aircraft, so here's the top view of the plane. Looking very nice. You can't really see much details, but they are there. Moving on to the bottom section of the aircraft. Let me just position it right this. Like right somewhere over here. But yeah, there we go. You got the JetBlue billboard tiles right there. That's painted on the aircraft's belly. And then alongside with that, you got your stand hole. And yeah, more details at the bottom section. Moving on to the front area of the aircraft. So here's the front section of the aircraft. Looking very nice, and you can see the ground flex configurations on the wings right there. Oops. And then moving on to the back. Here's the back section of the aircraft right there. So great work, Engine Malls, on this. We're really glad to have a JetBlue A320 spotlight pattern in my collection. And yeah, I also have the spotlight tail from Altitude Models as well. But this should be a additional asset for my JetBlue collection, and overall, really glad to have it. Now, I was kind of on the fence to this one because I also saw a JetBlue balloons pattern AC21. I think that's somebody already took the last one, and yeah, there were none, so I decided to opt for this one right here. But hopefully, I can get that in the future if ever there's still some, because like, yeah, I'm not sure how rare that model is now. But other than that, really glad to have this particular design for my JetBlue collection. So that's it for all the JetBlues. Let's move on to our next plane. Alright, we got more engine models to take a look at here. This next one is one of the rare ones. So I was able to pick this up on day one of the collectible show, and day one, it wasn't really much of me spending too much, unlike last year's. I think I did listen to Connor's advice from JJ's video, and yeah, I managed to do it. So didn't buy too much on day one, but these are one of the models I got from day one, and this is a rather exciting model I'm really excited to have. I think I got this from Squatchy's diecast hanger because they were there at the Kansas Ballroom. So I decided to get small because I think this should be a nice asset for one of my models I do have in my collection, but this is a different aircraft, or just a different aircraft type. So here we go. Coming into the frame, we have the engine models 1/400 scale, Alaska Airlines Boeing 737-800 in the Honoring Those Who Serve livery. Really glad to have another Honoring Those Who Serve aircraft in my collection, and I do have the 737-900ER from NG models, but I decided to go for the 737-800. All that's left is the 737 MAX 8 and Embraer E175, which I might get the Gemini jets on both of those, more particularly the E175, but we'll see if NG models can also do the honoring those who serve MAX 8. So you got the Boeing 737-800 tiles right there, you got the Alaska honoring those who serve right there, this is the symbol, you got the CGI image of the aircraft honoring those who serve. This livery in particular really shows our respect to all of our military servicemen, so thank you very much for your service. You got Chester right there, you got the Alaska logo right there, NG models logo, 1/4 scale, collectible models, die-cast metal. And you got the Boeing licensed product right there, and the aircraft registration is November 570 Alpha Sierra. The first time I saw this aircraft was back at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport back in December 2023, and similar to like the Washington Huskies livery, I got it was actually a little bit close to dark, but pretty much nearly dark, like it was nearly dark in Seattle at that time. So here's that picture right now. Overall, I'm really glad to see this honoring those who serve aircraft, and yeah, really glad to see it. Well, at that time, I saw all of the 737, like the honoring those who serve aircrafts in Alaska's fleet. That is until the MAX came, and I was able to see the MAX 8 months ago, so as it is recording. So, kinda like 2 months ago, but yeah. So pretty much I saw all of the honoring those who serve aircraft in Alaska's fleet. I think I spent $50 on this, which honestly, not a bad price, I'll say. And yeah, not a bad price for one of these rare models right there. So here are your sides right there. I do like the top side. It has like a nice gradient from a blue to white, and you can see all the stars right there. It's really cool. And then here's the left side. Am I looking at the back? Oh yeah. Here's the back side of the box right there. You got the NG models logo on the top left corner, social media pages, warning hazards, and the item number this model is 58075. So super excited to get my honoring those who serve 737-800 in my collection, and yeah, it'll be a perfect pair for my 737-900 I have in my collection as well. Let me just try to like open up the flap right there, and there we go, pop the top, and there she is. So it's almost like similar to like the 737-900, but it's on an 800, so really nice to have my, pretty much my, I'm guessing third 737-800 special from Alaska, and overall, this actually looks beautiful, honestly. And everything is intact, and yeah, look at this. This is just a really stunner from Alaska Airlines right there. Yeah, they did a wonderful job on this, like this livery, and they just hit the spot right there on this special. So yeah, really nice to have this model in my collection, and yeah, once again, thank you to all of our military personnel and veterans who served this country very well. But other than that, really nice to have this beauty in my collection. That is just like a fantastic model from NG. And here's the NG models 1/4 scale Alaska Airlines Boeing 737-800 in the honoring those who serve livery. Once again, NG did a phenomenal job on this model, and overall, it's a really meaningful livery for all of our military personnel here in the United States. So overall, once again, thank you so much for your service, and I'm really glad. Yeah, really cool, and thank you NG models for making this model in 1/4 scale. Although I think this was released somewhere around like the 2020s, so it is a really old model, I'll say. But yeah, $50 for this model. That is like a good price for a rare model like this. So I got the cockpit windows right there, no shape of the aircraft, which looks good. You got some pitot tube details right there. You got the nose landing gear and landing gear door right there. Nose landing gear door containing the ETOPS logo, and you can see 570 and -800. And then you got the honoring those who serve seal right there. This originally was gonna be like when this delivery was introduced, it features 5 stars, but thanks to the introduction of the Space Force, the MAX 8 actually has 6 stars alongside the engines. Well, I'll go over the engines as well. So as you can see, the stars has like the 5 stars in it. So one of them would be the US Navy, US Coast Guard, US Marines, US Army, and US Air Force. You got your L1 boarding door right there, and then you got some other like letterings right there. It's kind of hard to see in 1/4 scale, but it just, I think it says thank you to all of our military personnel who serve this country, I'm guessing. You got the Alaska Airlines logo right there in your bottom antenna, and then you got the honoring those who serve tiles in the Times New Roman font. Moving on to the middle section of the plane right there, you can see the red stripe that's like the beginning of this livery right there, so you can see that red stripe. And then after that, it goes into like a blue fuselage right there, like a blue area. And then you can see the CFM 56-7B engines right there, looking very nice with its blue colors. And then you can see the stripes right there. So this aircraft features 5 stripes. So as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But on the MAX 8, it has 6 stars. So with the 6-star being the addition to the US Space Force, you can only see that on the Max 8. I'm not sure if they're gonna update all their honoring those reserve planes to have 6 stars and 6 stripes on this aircraft, but we'll see. You also got your main landing gear right there. That's like the outer main landing gear is blue, and then you can see on the inner landing gear it's just like a normal like gray or white. And then you can also see the nose landing gear door, or the main landing gear door, is also painted blue. And then you got your emergency exit doors right there, which I think NG did a nice job on the printing on the windows alongside that emergency exit door I mentioned. You got your wing details right there, nothing to say more. You got some nice details from the spoilers, flaps, slats, and all your various like printed details and your flat track canoes, which they're very well accurate in size. And then here's the split scimitar, if I could try to focus. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's focused. Okay, you can see it better. So here's a split scimitar of the honoring those reserve aircraft. You can see decked out in that amazing American flag right there. So really cool, nice. There's like nice detailing for Alaska Airlines right there. And then moving on to this side, you got the aircraft registration, November 570 Alpha Sierra. You got your US flag right there, and then you got your L2 door, and then some kind of like, I'm not sure what kind of logo this is, but I think it's something about like Wounded Warrior Project, if I were to guess. I'm not sure that's like the actual logo, but I'm thinking it resembles like a Wounded Warrior Project or some kind of like something to deal like transporting some wounded soldiers in battle, or like delivering like, what are those things, like, well, the remains of like US fallen soldiers, and they would sometimes use this aircraft, so I'm guessing that's what's representing here right there. And then moving on to the empennage, you got your tail strike area right there. There's your APU and the horizontal stabilizers and a blue Chester, which honestly I think NG Models did a good job on the printing of the Alaska Airlines logo right there on this aircraft. Moving on to the front section. So as you can see, the front section also looks very nice. You can see some CFM fan blade details right there, and then you can see like the cockpit windows are well leveled and straight, and then you can see the 570 details, like the registration prefix on top of the cockpit windows, which you will commonly see on most Alaska Airlines planes. And then moving on to the starboard section of the plane, you got your R doors, so R1 and R2. You got your forward cargo bin, and not sure if you can see it, but the aft cargo bin is somewhere right there. I know it's like there's like a blue area, but somewhere over here is the aft cargo bin. Moving on to a top view of the aircraft, so here's the top view of the plane. Some nice details right there. You got your beacon lights, so nothing new to, like nothing to complain more. You got your bottom right there, same goes for like the top. I do like the fact they added air intakes, like molded in air intakes on the model. I also like the addition of like cutting out the main landing gear holes right there, so that's really cool. Moving on to the front section, here's the front section of the plane right there. And then moving on to the back area, if I can maneuver it. Here's the back area of the plane right there. So overall, great work NG Models on this particular aircraft back in 2020. And under that, really nice to have this model in my collection, and it will work well for my Alaska 737-900ER in this delivery. So overall, both of them from NG Models, by the way. And hopefully I can try to get the E175 and the Max 8 in the future. But we'll see if there's like some more E175 honoring those reserves from Gemini jets. It's still floating around. But under that, really nice to have this, and it's a nice model for my Alaska Airlines collection. The next model you're about to take a look at is yet another oddball, and really an oddball for sure. So this particular model in general, I ended up getting this, and I think I did something to my previous one. So I ended up getting this again, but it's another aircraft type for this particular airline. So it's gonna be interesting, and I'll go into explanation on why I ended up choosing this. So coming into the frame, we have the NG Models 1/400 scale Delta Airlines Airbus A319. Now, before you ask this, Dreamliner fan, don't you already have an NG Delta A319 in your collection already? Technically, yes, but I ended up selling my first iteration NG Delta A319 to MSP Aviation. Therefore, he traded me his Southwest 737-700 Canadian Blue without winglets. And this is actually the second iteration of NG's Delta A319. So I think it was released earlier this year. They did release the, I think November 2023 releases is when they released the first iteration Delta A319. And I'm thinking it's somewhere in between, oh my gosh. Because I know it's somewhere earlier this year is when NG did a duplicate of this Delta A319. But there's a reason why I ended up getting this model, which I'll go into further detail. So we'll get started with the box. So look at a little different compared to the previous one. You got the Airbus A319 tiles right there, you got the CGI image of the aircraft, you got various Delta widgets right there, and alongside that, a very nice geometric design box. You can still see it, but it's there, but you would often see this on the credit cards or their checking counters, which it's really cool to see on many of their like Delta checking counters when you like board at the gate. You got your NG Models logo right there, one for the scale collectible models like I smell. You got the Delta Airlines logo, and this is the reason why I ended up choosing this aircraft. As you can see, the registration of this aircraft is November 371 November Bravo. I did see this aircraft in real life back in San Jose International Airport during my San Jose spotting session back in, well, many of my spotting sessions that have, like many of my models that have connections to like reasons, like many of my plane spottings fall on January 2024 of this year, so it's really strange to think that I did see this aircraft in January 2024 at San Jose, and she was taking off on a beautiful clear sky day. So here's that picture you're seeing on your screen right now. It's a very awesome shot, let me just say, but other than that, really cool to have this model in my collection. And yeah, the first iteration had a different registration and I did not see that particular aircraft, but this one, yes. But other than that, really glad to have, well, my Delta A319 again, but technically it's just like a second iteration, but really nice to have yet a Delta A319. I don't really know, but yeah. $51, I think I got this from, yeah, Spruce Brothers Models. Yeah, Spruce, ooh, what's that? Spruce Brothers Model Company. $51 is the total for this Delta A319. And yeah, you can see all the sides right there, looking very nice. And then moving on to the back, you got your various like back details and your model logo on the top left corner. And then you got your warning hazards and the Facebook and all your social medias. And the item number of this model is 49027. So yeah, really nice to have this once again. And yeah, it marked the return of my Delta A319 after I ended up selling that one, my first iteration, to MSP Aviation. So yeah. And there she is. And yeah, it almost looks similar to like the first iteration. And yeah, nothing really to go over. I think I'll just like go over the review in just one video so I can like feature the difference. I'll just do like a quick model review, or actually I'll just do it in a separate video. And then here's the August 2023 CRP from NG. And yeah, I have a couple of these. But other than that, it's really cool to have yet another Delta A319 after I sold that one. But yeah, can't really complain. Either way, it's the exact aircraft I saw in San Jose, and overall, I'm really pleased about this model. Really happy to have it in my collection. So there it is, the second iteration Delta A319 from NG. And here's the NG Models 1/400 scale Delta Airlines Airbus A319 second release from April 2024. And yes, I literally had to look that up on one of my videos so I can know which aircraft falls on which NG release. But other than that, really glad to have, or like really glad that my Delta A319 in 1/400 scale has returned to my collection. And other than that, it's almost like similar to like the first iteration NG did. It's like the same, so I'm not gonna really go into like full detail on this review since it almost looks similar to like the first iteration. But what I can say, you got like all the various like characteristics of NG's A319 mold, like the nose shape for instance. It looks more accurate. You got your nose landing gear stuff details. I like the fact that the nose landing gear is slanted like that. Not sure if it's like that on the actual plane. You got your L1 boarding door right there and your SkyTeam logo, and they somehow don't have like the Delta most awarded like Delta is the most awarded airline decal placed on like the right side of the L1 boarding door. Not sure if that's featured on this particular plane, but yeah. You got your top antennas right there. You got the Delta Airlines logo right there. There's your emergency exit and your CFM 56-5B engines, which they're well accurate in excuse me. Well, they're well accurate in size and not as big as the Gemini version, which I still think the Gemini just version is okay. You got your main landing gear and your fence tip, which I think also NG also did a good job on the fence wing tips of the A319. The various wing details is almost the same as the first iteration right there, so nothing to go over. But the main difference is the registration of the aircraft. So there's your Wi-Fi dome right there, your bottom antenna, US flag, and the only main difference is right here, November 371 November Bravo, which is the second iteration from NG. So they made, I think they made 301 November Bravo when this was first released. Anyways, you got your L2 door right there, your horizontal stabilizers as well, and your empennage, like empennage area, horizontal stabilizers, and the APU, and the Delta Airlines upward and onward tail with the aircraft ship number 3171. And honestly, is it me or does like the blue almost looks more accurate to like the like the actual plane in real life. Because I'm thinking the first one, I think it looked a little bit darker, but I'm noticing something a little bit different. Or maybe I'm just like dreaming. Maybe it looks almost similar to like the first iteration, but it almost looks as, I think this one has a much more better like blue, if I were to guess, but that might be in my opinion. But yeah, might be different for other collectors. Anyways, front section looks nice. You got some fan blade details on the CFM engine, and yeah, all of this like cockpit window printings right there, which I think NG did a good job on. And then here's the starboard section of the plane. You got your R doors, you got your forward cargo bin, and your aft cargo bin right there. And let's move on to some top details right there. So, oops, I don't want to like, what was that? Anyways, don't want to like end up losing an engine on this aircraft. So here's the top view of the aircraft. Next thing to go over the top view. Here's the bottom view of the aircraft right there. You can see the Delta Airlines logo on the aircraft's belly, and you can see all the various like bottom details. You got your stand hole right there. Moving on to the front section. From this angle, you can see nice ground flex configuration. And moving on to the back, here is the back section of the plane right there. So overall, really nice to have this. Once again, I just had to like get this because it's the exact aircraft I saw in San Jose. And yeah, I hope NG my NG, I'm glad that my first iteration Delta A319 from NG has made it to a new home, which is MSP Aviation's homes in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So, other than that, cool model, and I'm really glad to have it for my Delta Airlines collection once again, and welcome back, NG Delta A319. Alright, we got more NG models Airbuses to take a look at. This next model is another model that I do want to add for this airline. I'm starting to build up a little bit of this particular airline. It's not like one of the other ULCCs, but it is a ULCC that some of you guys know of, but decided to get this. I kind of have something similar, kind of almost, but not really exactly, but super excited to have this model in my collection, and it's another pivotal asset for this particular airline. So, that is the NG Models 1/400 scale Spirit Airlines Airbus A320. Super excited to now have a Spirit A320 CO in my collection. This one actually has the sharklets, but they also made one with the fence wingtips. Might see if I could try to get a fence wingtip Spirit A320 in the future, as I've seen a couple of these at SMF. But I think when I got this, I think that's the more common one I would see every single time at SMF, but I think those will usually operate not as often. But yeah, that's the one I would see often. So you got the Airbus A320 tiles right there, you got the CGI image of the aircraft right there, Spirit Airlines in the scratch tiles, home of the Fairfare tiles right there as well. NG Models logo, 1/400 scale, collectible models, diecast metal. You got the Spirit Airlines logo, or just Spirit logo, and the aircraft registration, which is November 648, November Kilo. Here's one side right there, that's the bottom. Here's the right, top, and left. Here's the back side of the box right there, nothing to go over, it's the same thing. The NG logo is located on the top left corner. You got the warning hazards, social media pages, and the item number of this model is 15036. So, really glad to once again have another Spirit model in my collection, and yeah, I do have the Spirit A320 Neo from them also. But on that, here she is right there. And let me see if I have a collector. Yes, I do. This is in the August 2023. So, have a couple of those in my CRP collection. But other than that, there she is, and honestly, it looks really good. And yeah, hopefully it's intact. And she is intact. So overall, great work, NG Models, on this. Really nice to have this particular plane, and once again, hopefully I can get the fence wingtip in the future. But other than that, still a nice model for my Spirit Airlines collection, and they did a good job on this also. So really nice to have this for my Spirit Airlines collection, and yeah, should be a pivotal asset in many of my future airport updates. And here's the NG Models 1/400 scale Spirit Airlines Airbus A320 with sharklets. Once again, really nice to have a Spirit A320 in my collection, and yeah, I think this model looks very nice, and hopefully I can try to get the fence tip version in the future. But other than that, this one with the sharklets will do for now. So, just like NG's A320 molds, or A320 models, hang on, just want to make sure I fix my pencil. You got the cockpit windows right there, and then you got the nose shape. Once again, really well accurate. You can see a little bit of the radome of the outline of the radome right there. Airbus A320 tiles right there. You got some pitot stack details right there, and pitot tubes. You got your sag ports right there. You got your L1 board door, nose landing gear, nose landing gear door. The nose landing gear door contain part of the aircraft registration. You got your top antenna right there, or that's just a ship number, not mine. Moving on to the middle section, you got the big Spirit tiles right there, the Spirit billboard tiles, which they're currently in the scratch configuration right there. So many had like these Spirit planes before before they added the filled in titles, they actually had some scratch in titles. And as you can see, you got the AV400 engines that has the Home of the Bear Fair tiles right there. They also have like some Home of the Bear Fair tiles right there, but then they transition into a Spirit.com tiles instead. Next up, you got the Sharklet right there, looking very nice. You got the Spirit.com tiles right there, and then in the inner Sharklet, you can see the word Howdy that's pointed in there. So yeah, that's that. And then you also got your main landing gear. There's a lot of good details on the engine pylons as well. You got your wing details right there, so looking very nice. You got your spoiler details, flap details, side details, your flap track canoes, and your ailerons, and all the various printed details right there. Moving on to the back area of the aircraft, you got your Wi-Fi dome. I like the fact that the Wi-Fi dome is yellow. And then you got your two back antennas right there. You got your L2 door right there. You got the aircraft registration, November 648, November Kilo. You got your US flag, and then the aircraft ship number over there. And then moving on to the empennage of the aircraft, you got your APU, and the horizontal stabilizers, and the Spirit Airlines tail, which I think they did a good job on the printing on the tail, or like the printing in the Spirit logo, alongside the various like details that is in the rudder. Moving on to the middle section of the plane, you can see all your various like details, like IE details, like fan blade details, and all your various cockpit details. So great work, NG Models, on that. And then moving on to the starboard section of the aircraft, you got your R doors, or R1 and R2, and your forward cargo bin. Gosh, I don't know why I can't kind of stutter a little bit, like sometimes stutter, but yeah, that's what happens when you talk too fast. But yeah, here is the forward cargo bin, and then you got the aft cargo bin right there. Moving on to a top view of the aircraft, so here's the top view of the plane. You can see all the various details. Nothing to go over since I've been reviewing these like A320s for the past couple of minutes or so. Here's the bottom, you got some more bottom details right there. You got your stand hole right there. Moving on to the front section, also I do want to mention the bottom antenna right there. So there's the bottom antenna. Moving on to the forward section of the plane, as you can see, I do like the fact that the Sharklets are well molded in very nicely alongside the ground flex configuration of the wings. And alongside with that, you have... What was that? Sorry, kind of like having some interruptions. Anyways, here is the back view of the plane right there. So overall, really nice to have another Spirit model in my collection. And yeah, kind of like progressing, trying to complete the Spirit Airlines fleet. So I have the AC-21neo, AC-20neo, AC-19, and yeah, that's pretty much it. All I just needed. Well, I think did I mention the AC-21? Oh yeah, I do need the AC-21. So that's a new addition right there. That's an addition I need to get, but the new addition is the A320ceo. So on that, great work, NG Models, on this Spirit AC-20. And once again, hopefully I could try to get the defensive version, hopefully soon. But yeah, it'll take some time. But other than that, we got another model to take a look at, and I'm super excited for this particular one. So with that being said, let's move on to our next model, and it's a new mold, by the way, hint hint. Okay, so this next model is another model I'm super excited for. Now, this is another brand new mold that I decided to acquire, and yeah, I never had a mold from this particular brand before, so super excited about this. But I actually do have this particular model in my collection already. So some manufacturer decided to step up the game and try to make their version about this particular aircraft right there. So super excited for this. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the NG Models 1/400 scale United Airlines Boeing 757-300. Man, super excited about getting my first NG 753. I do have the Gemini Jets version, because from October 2022, because yeah, I do have the Gemini Jets version, but what if I want to get the NG version? So, kind of like to diverse my 757-300 fleet. So, that's what I did. I got the 753 from NG Models in United's Evil Blue livery. So, I'm super excited to have my first 753 from NG Models. So, you got the Boeing 757-300 tiles right there. You got the CGI image of the aircraft. You got a nice representation of the Evil Blue livery. You can see the Evolution Blue globe right there. That's kind of nearly filling out the entire front of the box. So that's really cool right there. You can see a little bit of gray over there though. So it's nearly filling the entire box. You got the NG Models logo right there, 1/4 scale, collectible models, die-cast metal. You got the United Airlines logo right there, and then you got the aircraft registration, November 7, 8866. There's two numbers over there that almost threw me off I was trying to say a different number, but yeah, that's the registration of the aircraft, and then there's a Boeing license product right there. Not sure if I saw this particular aircraft. I'm gonna have to like research that after I go through this video, like go through this portion of this video, because I've seen some 753s at SFO a couple times. I've seen some Evil Blues, Continental Globes, but I'm not sure if I've seen this particular plane. I spent $51. I got this from Spruce Brothers Malls, as you can see by the tag right there. And overall, good deal. I mean, like, it's a new model, but it's okay for what it is, as you can see. So here's the bottom, the left side, right side, sorry, top side, which there's like some good details. I do like the border lines of the engine logo and the 753 logo, and then there's the left side. And then here's the back side of the box right there. You can see the engine models logo on the top left corner, warning hazards, and all your various social media pages, Boeing licensed product, and the item number of this model is 45001, which is the first NG 757-300 they ever did. So really cool. You can tell because it has the 001. So this is the first NG 753 they ever released. So super excited to get my first NG 753, and hopefully more to come. I'll see if they can do like a Continental Globe 757-300 in the future. But yeah. But other than that, really nice to have an Evil Blue 753 at least. So that way I can try comparing that with my Gemini version. And this is my CRP. Yes, there is a CRP. This is the December 2023 format. Oh, this is 2023. So, yeah. But other than that, looking absolutely very nice right here in 1:1 scale from NG. So, yeah, I haven't seen many, like, 753 molds releasing, like, that were released. The only no brand I can think of is JC and Gemini Jets. But, really cool to see NG stepping up their game and making their own 753 mold, and holy moly, look at that. Man, that looks gorgeous. Whew. And is he intact? Okay, horizontal. Oh my god, this looks really cool, honestly. Man, NG 757 molds really hit the spot, and seeing this on their new 757-300 mold, it just really hits different, man. I know I had the Gemini Jets versions from like the Delta and the United ones. Those were 753s from Gemini Jets, but seeing, like, man, getting an NG version, it just really hits different. Man, this looks really cool, honestly. Wow. It's really long. The flying pencil has arrived from NG models, and that is just a really cool model right there. Great work, NG models, on this, and honestly, in my opinion, it's better than the Gemini version. What more can I say? Don't get me wrong, the Gemini Jets version is still good, but I think this NG really hits the spot right here. So, great work, NG models, on this 753. And here's the NG models 1/400 scale United Airlines Boeing 757-300 in the Evo Blue livery. No need to explain more. This is just an amazing model from NG models, and while I had the Gemini Jets version for 2 years, I think this is honestly much more better than just the Gemini. And yeah, once again, I still think the Gemini Jets version of their 757-300 mold looks nice, but this just takes it on a whole new level for NG models right there. So wow, this honestly, it looks absolutely really cool. So let's get started with the model review. So you got the cockpit windows right there, and then you got the nose shape of the aircraft right there. Once again, like, the nose shapes of NG 757s, they're just like spot on. They're just perfect right there. And as you can see, the cockpit windows are also printed in very accurately as well. You got some Pitot 2 details right there. You got the radome outlines right there. You got the starter delivery, which of course starts off with a navy blue swoop, and then it has the gray underbelly right there. You got your L1 boarding door right there. You got your Star Alliance logo alongside the connecting people uniting the world tiles right there. Moving on to this side of the aircraft, you got your big billboard United blue tiles right there. You got your top antenna and your bottom antenna. Honestly, really cool to see some bottom antennas on these 753s. You also got your stack port details right there. You also got your L2 boarding door right there. Either of these can be used as boarding doors, but more commonly they would use the L2 boarding door as like the boarding door for many of these 757s. And yeah, compared to like a 752, this is like, it's a stretch version of the 752s, and it's just a really long aircraft. No wonder why it's nicknamed the Flying Pencil. And as you can see, here's the middle section of the aircraft. You got your emergency exit doors right there. There's your main landing gear, and then there's your Rolls-Royce RB211 engines right there. Well accurate in size and shape. And yeah, engine models still did a good job on that. Moving on to some wing details, as I put it like this. So here's the wing details. You can see all the printed details from the CSFF and the emergency exit indicators right there. You also got your details from the slat, flaps, fairings, or canoes, flat track canoes, and all your various like ailerons and decals right there, which I think engine models did a great job on. And yeah, really cool. And as you can see, here is the 753's winglet. Most of the United planes don't feature the scimitar winglets on their 757's 300 molds, so you would commonly see these. It's only seen on the 757-200s. Moving on to the back area of the aircraft, you got your Wi-Fi dome right there, and then you got the L3 door right there, which I think that can also be act as a emergency exit door as well. You got your bottom antenna, your second bottom antenna of the aircraft, and yeah, and then you got the aircraft registration November 78866, and then there's your US flag right there, and then there's your L4 door right there of the aircraft, and then there's also the aircraft ship number just like on the top right corner of that door. And then moving on to the empennage area of the aircraft, you got your 757 APU right there, and then you got your horizontal stabilizers, and the stunning United Airlines Evo Blue tail, which Engine Models did a great job on like the colors of the tail of the Evo Blue livery. I think this is well accurate. Compared to that to my Max 9, I think like the light blue colors were dull, but I think this one, that honestly looks more accurate to like the real life aircraft right there. Or the real life livery in general. Moving on to the front view of the aircraft, so kind of like a front view on this side. You can see all the various details on the fan blades right there, and then you can see the cockpit windows right there, which I think Engine Models did a good job. I think they're well straight and printed very accurately on this aircraft. And then moving on to the starboard section of the airplane right there, you got your various R doors right there, so R1, R2, R3, and R4 door. And then somewhere over here, oh yeah, there it is, there's a forward cargo bin right there, and then there's your aft cargo bin right there. Moving on to a top view of the plane, so let me just position her. So here's the top view of the plane right there. No need to explain more, there's all your various like details on the top. Moving on to the bottom, you can see the stand holder right there. You also got some various details like this rat turbine right there. So there's the rat turbine door right there on this aircraft. And then there's your air intakes right there, which, okay, they're not molded in, which can't really complain. But I do love the fact that this aircraft now, or this model in particular, has a two-piece mold, which I know I had the Gemini jets for 2 years, like the Gemini jets version for 2 years, that has a one piece. So seeing this model with a two-piece mold, or this aircraft with a two-piece mold, it's just really spot on, and almost looks almost like the real life aircraft. And then you can see the 757-300 cells right there. Moving on to the front view of the aircraft, so here's the front view of the plane, looking absolutely very nice. Honestly, it almost looks similar to the Gemini Jets version when I look at it on the front view, but once again, there's like more additional details on the NG compared to the Gemini. And then here's the back view of the plane right there. So overall, what a stupendous job from Engine Models on their first Boeing 757-300 mold. Wow, this is just really cool to have in my collection. And yeah, what a nice model from Engine Models right there. Really nice to have a 753 from NG. And yeah, I may have to do a comparison on my Gemini Jets version too. But yeah, really cool model right there. They also got the Condor 753s, and hopefully soon they can release a Delta. But I know they have somebody voted for a Iceland 753 in the Independence livery too. So hopefully that's in the works for Engine Models. But other than that, this is a cool model, and I'm really glad to have it for my United Airlines collection. So that's pretty much it for the North American models right here, or mainly like the domestic United States Airlines. But I got a couple of international narrow bodies. So with that being said, there are actually new international airlines for my collection, so I'm super excited to have those. So with that being said, let's move on to some international airlines. Alright, now let's move on to some international airlines. Super excited to have some of these internationals in my collection, as many of them are going to be new for my collection. Well, more in particular the narrow bodies. There's some new countries that are going to be added to my collection, and new regions, by the way. So super excited to have this. The first one is a model that I've been wanting to have, more in particular if I'm ever going to be doing this particular airport in my in the near future. But I'm just super excited if I have this airline, and we have a couple of friends from the south of us. So yeah, super excited to have this model. So with that being said, here we go with our first. Here we go, everybody. Let's get started with our first international airline. Man, I'm just super excited about this. So, coming into the frame, we have the NG models, 1/400 scale, Aeromexico Boeing 737-800. Super excited to have my first model from Mexico. And yeah, I've been wanting to have Aeromexico for a long time, since like they fly to Sacramento from Mexico City, and yeah, I would see them operate the 737-800 at times, but they would also operate the 737 MAX 8 sometimes too. But other than that, I'm glad to have my first airline from Mexico. So you got the Boeing 737-800 tiles right there. You got the CGI image of the aircraft right there. You got a very nice, well-designed box for the Aeromexico livery. You got the engine models logo right there, 1/4 scale, collectible model, die-cast metal. You got the Aeromexico logo right there, the Boeing licensed product, and the aircraft registration, which is X-Ray Alpha, Alpha Mike Victor. And this is the aircraft that's registered in Mexico. Some of their Aeromexico 737-800s have the November registration, and I'm guessing those are like lease planes from Aeromexico's fleet. Here's the bottom side. I spent $30 on this. I think I got this. Yeah, I got this from Spruce Brothers Mall's scratch and dent section. So they had a scratch and dent section on their vendor tables, and usually it's all like models that have broken horizontal stabilizers or wings. There's a lot of rare models from there. I think I saw a NG KLM 100 787-10 there, and it had some broken parts, but I came across this. There was also a blended winglet version, but I ended up going for the split scimitar version since these are more common in the Aeromexico fleet. So I think it was one of the horizontal stabilizers that came broken, or maybe I think it was the horizontal stabilizers. But luckily enough, I brought super glue with me, so that's fixed. So yeah, that's good. I'm not sure how it's gonna look like right now, but yeah, you got your right side of the box right there, top box, like top of the box, bottom of the box, and then here's the back side of the box right there. You got the engine models logo on the top left corner right there. You got their warning hazards, social medias, Boeing licensed product, and the item number of this model is 58 or 58090. And yeah, this is like one of NG's older 737-800s they had. Not sure when this model was released in particular, but either way, I'm just really glad to have an Aeromexico 738 in my collection. And yeah, hopefully if ever I do an SMF airport update, then hopefully I can feature this aircraft. So there she is, the Aeromexico 738. There's no collector card since this is an old model from. This is a model that's not made in 2022. But yeah. Anyways, the wings are good. So wings are good. Horizontal stabilizers. Hopefully that's good. Good. And the tail. And look at that. Man, this is just a really cool model. Once again, really glad to have my first model from the Mexico region. And yeah, I think it's this one, the port horizontal stabilizer. It came off. There's kind of like a little bit of paint chips, but it's not too noticeable, nor it's like really visible from the naked eye right there. But other than that, really glad to have this model, and overall, really cool to have Aeromexico in my collection. So pretty much I've completed all like the airlines that are, well, I've completed most of the airlines that are from like the US, Canada, and Mexico. I mean, there's also Volaris and then Viva Aerobus, but Aeromexico is the start of like getting all these like Mexican models, so we're glad to have this. And gracias NG models, this is just a fantastic model, and hopefully you can do a re-release of an Aeromexico 738 soon. But other than that, really glad to have it. And here's the NG models 1/400 scale Aeromexico Boeing 737-800. Once again, this is a fantastic model from NG's, and yeah, one of the older NG releases of like around 2018, like around the 2018, 2019, or more in particular the 2019-2020 time frame. But other than that, this is it's really cool to finally have my model from Mexico. Well, this model from Mexico. And yeah, Aeromexico is the start. Hopefully I can get some more Aeromexico fleets. I know Gemini Jets did a future release on the Aeromexico new livery, so hopefully I can try to get that. But I do have this NG738. So I got the cockpit windows right there, and then you got the nose shape of the plane. Nothing to complain more. NG's nose shape of the 737s are spot on. You got some pitot tubes and stack ports details right there. There's some stack ports, yeah. And then there's your radome right there. And then there's a nose landing gear and a nose landing gear door containing part of the Alpha Mike Victor registration prefix. You got your L1 boarding door, and I'm not sure what this says. I haven't seen close-up shots of like the L1 door or the L1 boarding door on Aeromexico planes, more in particular the 737, so I'm not really quite sure what this is. And then what I do like about this livery is like there's like a red stripe, like a red area that starts from here, and then it swoops all the way to like close to like the empennage, kind of like around here of the aircraft right there. So this is like one of the nice characteristics of Aeromexico's, well, current livery. And then you got a bottom antenna right there. There's your CFM 56-7B edges, which once again can't complain. They're well accurate in size, so that's excellent right there. You got the Aeromexico billboard tiles right there alongside the Mexican flag. And then there's your emergency exit doors right there and your top antenna. And then there's your split scimitars, which I kind of like the design of the split scimitar. So you can see a navy blue area right there, and then the bottom shows like a red. But this one in particular, this scimitar, this winglet right there, it has like a red tip over there. So it's really unique. Here's the wing details right there. Nothing to go over too much, but they have some nice wing details. So you got some details of the slats, flaps, ailerons, flat deck canoes, pylons, and then all your printed details right there. Moving on to the back area, you can also see like a line that's drawn here, like this line that represents separation between the cargo hold and the passenger cabin itself. You also got your Wi-Fi dome right there, and then there's your L2 door right there, and then this is where like the area, this is not a part of the livery, so it has a light blue line, and it runs all the way right here, and then the tail section is where it's all just navy blue, and then there's like a red tip at the top of the tail. There's your aircraft registration, X-Ray Alpha, Alpha Mike Victor. And then moving on to the empennage of the aircraft, you got your tail dragger right there, your APU, and your horizontal stabilizers. There's like the paint chip I mentioned already, so yeah, not really too noticeable. Either way, all I can say is I managed to glue it in, and it's able to stick right there. So I did a good job on it. Not really the best in the world, but other than that, I still managed to fix it. And then you got the Aero Mexico tail right there, and there's a logo which almost looks like I think it has to do something with Mayan or Aztec culture, so I think that's where they got this logo right there, but other than that, it's a cool logo for Aero Mexico. And then you got the Alpha Mike Victor registration prefix on the top of the tail. Moving on to, I also do want to mention that the Aero Mexico logo is also featured on the inner winglet, which is, yeah, right there, so really cool, they also added that there. And then moving on to the front section of the plane, no need to explain more about the front section, it looks very nice. You got some various fan details, like the fan blade details on the engines right there, so great work engine models on that. Moving on to the starboard section, also nothing to go over too much. You got your R doors right there, you got your forward cargo bin right there, and your aft cargo bin right there. Moving on to the top view of the plane, so here's the top view of the plane, looking very nice. And yeah, no need to explain more about the details, but on the starboard wing, you can see the X-Ray Alpha, Alpha Mike Victor at this part of the starboard wing, since this airline is an international airline and it's not a US registered airline. And then moving on to the bottom, you can see all the various details at the bottom. Oh, that's really cool. They added like this bottom antenna is painted red, and then you got your bottom two antennas right there. And then here's the bottom, of course. You got your molded in air intakes and your molded in landing gear holes, and the X-Ray Alpha, Alpha Mike Victor registration at the bottom of the port wing. Here's the front section of the aircraft, also looking very nice as well, no need to go over too much. And then the back section also looks very good as well, and honestly, did a good job. It almost looks like it's well accurate. Like this one is almost in line with that one too, the starboard horizontal stabilizer. So overall, really glad to finally have an Aero Mexico 737-800 in my collection, or more particular, an airline from Mexico in my collection. And $30, that's just a good steal right there for a model this rare. So, really happy about that deal, and while it's in the scratch and dent, I was able to fix it, and she pretty much looks good as new. So, really glad to have Aero Mexico in my collection. So, this is just a really cool model, and I want to try to say something in Spanish, but yeah, all I can say is gracias, NG. But this is a really cool model, and oh yeah, gracias Spruce Brothers models. But yeah, what a cool model in my collection. Let's move on to our next international airline. The last of the narrow bodies is another international airline, and this airline in particular is what I'm super excited for. I always wanted to have this airline in my collection from this particular region, and yeah, it took many years until I finally get my hands on one, and overall, it's gonna be a pivotal airline for many of my international airlines that I have in my collection. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I introduce you my first airline from South America, and that is the NG Models 1 front scale Avianca Airbus A320. Man, super excited about this first airline from South America. I've been always wanting to have a South American model in my collection, and yeah, I've seen Avianca in SFO a couple of times. They would bring like the El Salvador variant, and they would bring the Colombian variant at times. This one in particular is the Colombian variant, so super excited to have this. I think this came out on NG's November 2023 releases, where they finally released a regular livery, a standard livery Avianca A320. So super excited to have this in my collection. You got the Airbus A320 tiles right there. You got the CGI image of the aircraft. I honestly really love this box right here. You got like a gradient right there of red to white, and then you got all the various like Avianca colors right there, and then you got the logo right there, which is kind of like overlapping on some colors. But under that, this is another cool box art from NG. You got the NG logo right there, 1/4 scale, collectible model, sidecast metal. You got the Avianca logo right there, and then you got the aircraft registration, November 745 Alpha Victor. And yes, Colombian planes actually have a November registration, similar to what the United States has, which I don't know what's the deal. Like, why Colombia has like a November registration and we have a November registration? I don't really know, honestly. But that if they register their planes that, then yes. Here's the bottom side. I think I bought this from the Texan Airplane Store, I think. Yeah, maybe it's either that. I think it's the Texan Airplane Store. I think originally this was gonna be like $49 from what I'm seeing, or maybe kind of around that price, but they drop it down to $40, so I got this on day 3. So that's the bottom. Here's the right side, top side, and here is the left side of the box. I'm not sure what's going on with this yellow thing. I'm not sure where this yellow thing came from. Then moving on to the back side, you got the NG logo right there on the top of the corner, warning hazards, and all of their social media pages right there. And the item number of this model is 15028. So here we go. Super excited to finally have Avianca in my collection. It's a long time coming, similar to some international airlines that I have for the first time. Look at her right there, looking very nice. Do I have my CRP? Yes, I do. This is the August 2023 format, so looking very nice. Man, welcome, Avianca. Man, always wanted to have you for a long time. Yes, wow. Man, this looks really cool. Okay, wings are intact. Horizontal stabilizers are intact. Tail, well, the tail is also intact too. And the port wing is intact too. Man, this is... Woo! Wow, this looks amazing right here. Angie did a wonderful job on the Avianca livery. Man, that just looks excellent right there. Another S-tier effort from Angie Models right there. Wow. Model didn't came broken. It looks really, really good. Man, what more can I say? This is just an amazing effort from the one and only NG Models. Once again, really glad to finally have my first airline from South America for my international fleet. And here's the NG Models 1/400 scale Avianca Airbus A320. Looking absolutely very nice in 1/400 scale, and overall I think NG Models did an excellent job on this model right here. And once again, really nice to finally have my first airline from South America. And yeah, what a cool model or airline that this is. So yeah, really nice for Avianca. And overall, can't wait to use it in my future airport updates. So you got the cockpit windows right there, and then you got the nose shape of the plane right there. Of course, looking absolutely very accurate compared to its real life counterpart. You also got the Airbus A320 tires right there. You got some pitot stack details from the static ports right there, and some pitot tubes right there. You also got your Star Alliance logo right here at the top of that, and your L1 boarding door. You also got the Colombian flag right there. Once again, this airline is operating for Avianca Colombia. You also got your nose landing gear, and nose landing gear door can take part of the aircraft registration. Moving on to this section of the aircraft, you got the Avianca towels alongside their logo right there. And then there's your CFM 56-5B engines, which once again, well accurate in size, and they're not as big as unlike Gemini. But Gemini Jets still did okay on those engines, but I think NG is more accurate. You also got some emergency exit windows right there, just outlined by the C and the A, like overlapping the C and the A. But under that, I still think NG Models did a good job on the printing. You also got your main landing gear right there, and then you also got your sharklet right there. So this aircraft is equipped with sharklets, so you can see like on the outside, you can see like this area right here is red, and then you can see the bottom portion, which is white, and then on the inner logo, you can see the Avianca logo right there, alongside the Avianca logo on the engine as well. Moving on to the wing details, so no need to explain more on the wing details. I do like the fact that the flap track canoes had like the red tips in there. You also got your various like details from like all the various like flap slats, and then your spoilers, the ground spoilers, and ailerons. And yeah, nothing to go over the wings, but I think NG did a good job on like the printing of the wings, like the details on the wings. You also got the Avianca logo on the wing right there, and then on this side it says November 745 Alpha Victor on the starboard wing. Moving on to the back area of the plane, so here's the back area of the aircraft. You got your L2 boarding door right there. It can also be used as a boarding door, but you could also call it as an L2 door. You got the aircraft registration, November 745 Alpha Victor, and then this is where the livery starts. So as you can see, it's pretty much like the logo itself. So like all the various like shades of red, you got like like a dark red, and then you got all the various like reddish, like red colors right there, and then you can see like a reddish orange color that's peeking on this side right there. And then you got the empennage, so here's the empennage in the plane. Let me just scoot it a bit. You got the APU and the horizontal stabilizers, and you can see like their tail over there, which once again there's like I think it's overlapping like the fuselage area of the aircraft all the way to the tail. And you can see your Columbia flag on the top right corner of the tail right there. So overall, I think Edgy Balls did a good job on the pointing of the tail right there. Moving on to the front section of the aircraft, let me just focus it again. So here's a front view of the plane. As you can see some good details on the CFM engine right there. And then yeah, you can see all the cockpit windows, which I think they're printed very nicely and straight. And then moving on to the starboard section of the aircraft, let me zoom out. You got the APU right, well, the APU is off. Sorry about that. Like, I already go over the APU, but you can see all the various like R doors are R1 and R2. And then there's like some kind of like, not sure what this is. Or maybe like this portion, like this part right here, I'm not sure what this is implicating, but yeah, it's there. And then moving on to back to the forward area, you got your forward cargo bin right there. And then you got your aft cargo bin right there, and your bulk compartment. Moving on to a top view of the plane, so here's the top view of the aircraft right there. So overall looking very nice on the various like details on the top. Moving on to the bottom, so here's the bottom, so all your various details on the bottom, which I think Edgy Balls did a good job on the bottom details of the aircraft. You can also got your stand hole right there. You can see the November 745 Alpha Victor registration on the port wing, and then you can see the avionics tiles on the starboard wing. Moving on to the front section of the plane, so here's the front section of the aircraft looking very nice. And then moving on to the back section, here is the back section of the plane right there. So overall, really nice to have avionics in my collection, and overall this should be some, like this aircraft should have some pivotal assets if I were to feature this model in an airport update. Probably some routes from like San Salvador or some other like various like destinations in South America that avionics applies to. Like I know they're based out of Colombia, but they also got like a El Salvador and I think a Chile, like a Chile aircraft, like a Chile airline. Well, I'm not sure if that's the case, but the only known avionics the avionics I know is from El Salvador and Colombia. But other than that, either way, I still have an avionics model in my collection. I'm really glad to pick that up from the Airliners convention. So great work, Edgy Balls, on this, and I'm really excited to use this in the future. So that is it for the narrow bodies, but we also got some wide bodies to take a look at, and I'm just super excited to go into the wide bodies for you guys. So with that being said, let's transition into the wide bodies. Alright, let's move on to wide body territory now. And let's get started with a brand new mold from NG Models. And I'm just super excited to have this particular aircraft from NG in my collection. And I did have an aircraft like this back then, like when I unboxed the previous model, but I thought to myself, what if I can get another one out of this airline? So I decided to get this airline from NG, and overall, NG is an airline that I mostly collect, but super excited to add this other aircraft in my collection, and I'm super excited to finally have it. And that is the NG Models 1/400 scale Delta Airlines Airbus A330-900neo. Super excited to have another A330neo in my collection. And yeah, this marks my second time having an A330neo after getting the Gemini Delta A330neo in the Team USA livery. So, other than that, it's a pivotal asset, and I'm really glad to also have this one in the standard livery as well. So you got the Airbus A330-900neo tiles right there. You got the CGI image of the aircraft. What I do like about this box art, instead of like the previous box arts that they did, is they keep climbing together titles, and it's actually in this like some kind of like bluish background instead of like the regular Delta Airlines logo. So you know, with the check-in counters, like texture designs. I like how this style is a lot more different compared to the previous one. And this was originally going to be a Ultimate Collection box. Well, some A330neos are going to be Ultimate Collection box. However, NG did cancel that because of like pricing issues, I guess. But other than that, at least we still have a standard version right here. You got the NG Models logo right there, 1/4 scale, collectible model, sidecast metal. You got the Delta Airlines logo, and you got the aircraft registration, November 405 Delta X-Ray. I think I saw the sister ship, November 406 Delta X-Ray, at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport back in like 2022. I think I did, but yeah, I don't think I've seen this particular aircraft before, but I did see its sister ship in Seattle. But yeah, you would find these in Atlanta, MSP, and then Seattle Tacoma as well. More in particular, I would see them in Seattle whenever I go to SCA. Here's the bottom section of the box, $55.95. Not a bad price for a watch. I mean, like, it's one of the newer releases, so that can explain why. Here's the right side of the box right there, top side, and left side, and then moving on to the back. It says the same tiles, the same thing as the front. You got the NG Models logo at the top left corner, your warning hazards, social media pages, and the item number of this model is 68003. So this is like one of NG's first A330 Neos they ever done. So super excited to have this in my collection, and overall, a Delta A330 Neo standard livery should be a pivotal asset for many of these like airports I do, if ever I would include Delta. So there she is. I also got my CRP. It is in the, I have the March 2024 format for the CRP, so nothing new to me, but under that, really cool to have one. And there she is. And honestly, I think NG Malls did an amazing job on their 1400 AC30 Neos. It almost looks really accurate, honestly. And overall, I think NG Malls did a wonderful job on this. And yeah, honestly, I'm really impressed. Overall, I think they did a wonderful job on this. And honestly, it almost looks better than the JC Gemini mold. But other than that, I mean, the Gemini mold is also good. I mean, I only have one, but it's really cool to actually have an A330 Neo from NG. And honestly, just looking at it, it almost looks as good as like the actual real life aircraft itself. And honestly, I think NG, yeah, I was gonna say Gemini, but yeah, it's really cool to see NG models do this mold in 1/400 scale. So Gemini, Phoenix, and NG are coming in with their A330 Neo mold. So yeah, really cool model, and I'm really glad to have it for my Delta collection. And here's the NG Models 1/400 scale Delta Airlines Airbus A330-900 Neo. Once again, I think NG Models did a wonderful job on their Airbus A330-900 Neo mold, and overall, I think it looks very fantastic, and I think NG Models did a wonderful job on this 1/400 mold. So under that, we're really glad to have a Delta A330 Neo standard livery in my collection. So I have the Team USA one from Gemini, now I have the standard version from NG. So you got the cockpit windows right there, and of course you got the raccoon mask right there, one of the characteristics of the Airbus A330 Neo aircraft. And honestly, it almost looks similar to like the A330-300 mold. The nose shape looks good. There's the radome, you got the Torpedo 2 details, you got the Sky Team logo right there, on boarding door, and the decal that says Delta is the most awarded airline, and you can see all like their various like companies that awarded Delta. And then you can also see like the stack ports right there. Delta Airlines logo right there, you got your top antenna, and then you also got the L2 boarding door as well. And yeah, same decal right there. Moving on to the middle section of the aircraft, you got your main landing gear right there, and then there's your aircraft, like the engines that power this aircraft. These are the Trent 7000 engines right there. And overall, I think NG did a good job on like the sizing of the Trent 7000 engines, and yeah, accurate in shape and size. And then here's the winglet, which this is like one of the unique characteristics of the AC30 Neos. The winglet, it's not really like a A350's blended winglet, but it kind of almost feels like, so as you can see, it kind of like starts over here and then it just like protrudes somewhere like that. So if I were to put it in the front, you can see on how this winglet looks like. So it's not really like an A350's winglet where it just curves up like this, but rather it kind of is a slight curve to almost make it look like a winglet. So that's like a really cool feature for the A330 Neo right there. And moving on to some wing details, so let me just position it like this. So here's some wing details. Of course, it's kind of like the same wing details that I would see on NG's A330 molds. So you got all your various like pointed details right there. You got your flat track canoes right there. And yeah, all your various like characteristics. You can slightly see the spoilers and flaps. And you can also see the slats too. But other than that, I think NG Molds did a good job on like the wing details on their A330 Neo mold. And then you can also see the landing leg detail right there. So that's another good attention to detail from NG. Moving on to this side of the aircraft, you got your tiny LCD door right there, which is, I think, I'm not sure why the AC30, like the A330's third door, looks so small, but I think that has to do with like, I'm guessing it could have to do with some kind of like emergency exit thing, and then not really much use of a boarding door, but yeah, that's there. You got your Wi-Fi dome and your back antennas right there. And then there's your bottom antenna peeking over there. And then you can see all your various windows. You got your L4 door. You also got your US flag. And then you got the aircraft registration, November 405 Delta X-Ray. And then moving on to the F&Izer of the plane, you got your APU, of course your APU of the A330, and the horizontal stabilizers, and the Delta Airlines logo, the upward and onward tailed. That's printed very nicely. And then you got the aircraft ship number right there. I've heard from other collectors that this top part it seems like it's kind of like almost close to being like straight and level, which I think I watched yesterday's Airlines or some other like person who reviewed the A330neo from NG. They did say that I think it's not really as accurate. I think it needs to be slanted, like for instance, like I think it should be slanted a little bit upwards, and I think there should have been more center. Not really thick. It should have been more center. Like, yeah. But I do have my Delta A330-300 with me. So as you can see the difference in the tail. So as you can see, the Delta A330-300 kind of has a more accurate tail design. So I'm not sure why NG decided to go for a different tail on this A330-900neo, while they could have just like stick with the same thing. They just want to like, yeah, they could have just stick with the same tail design and just fix the wings. But under that, can't really complain too much. I still think NG, like besides the tail design, I still think NG molds did a fantastic job on their A330neo mold. Anyway, so here's the front section of the plane. You got some fan details on the Trent 7000s, and then you got the cockpit windows, which honestly, I think NG molds did a wonderful job on that one right there. And then moving on to the starboard section of the plane, you got your R doors, or R2, R1, R2, R3, and R4. You also got your forward cargo bin right there, and then you got your aft cargo bin, and I think somewhere around there is the bulk compartment. Moving on to a top view of the plane, so let me just position it. So here's the top view of the plane, looking very nice. Of course, the same details as like what NG does on the top. You also got your beacon light in the middle of the plane. Moving on to the bottom, you can see the Delta Airlines logo on the belly of the aircraft right there, which honestly I think NG models also did a good job on the printing of the Delta logo. You also got your various like details right there, and then I think you could see A330-900neo or A330-900, or maybe A330. Yeah, it says A330-900 in like the very front of the aircraft. But yeah, you can see all your various front details. I do like the fact I think they're kind of molded in, these air intakes. They're almost like, seems like they're molded in, but yeah, kinda. And then you also got your stand hole right there. Moving on to the front section of the aircraft, let me just, there we go. So here's the front section of the plane, also looking very nice. And then moving on to the back section of the aircraft. Here's the back section right there. So overall, really nice to have my first NG A330neo in my collection, and nice to start things off with Delta Airlines since they're the largest operator of the type. And under that, like, there's a lot of A330neos. Once again, you'll find them in Atlanta, MSP, or Minneapolis, or Seattle Tacoma International Airport, and I think there's some in LAX too. But other than that, I still think NG Models did a great job on this 1/400 A330neo mold, and hopefully I can see more A330neos made by NG. Like, I think many of us wanted like a Condor A330neo and a TAP Air Portugal A330neo, so hopefully that's done by NG in the future. But other than that, really nice to once again have a Delta A330neo standard livery in my collection. So overall, great work NG Models on this A330neo mold right here. Let's move on to our next model, shall we? This next model is what I'm really super excited for, and honestly, it's one of the models that I desperately needed for my collection because I technically don't want to replace something, but I just wanted like a very, very good mold about this particular aircraft. And when I saw this at one of the retailer stores, more in particular West Coast Diecast, I was like, you know what? I had to get it because I desperately needed it, and I honestly don't really have words, but I'm finally very fortunate to finally have a mold about this particular airline and aircraft, and honestly, I think this should be a really, really great asset for this particular collection. So, coming into the frame, we have the AV400 1/400 scale. Oh boy, I'm super excited about this. But, here we have the United Airlines Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner in the Evo Blue livery. Oh man, I'm just like really excited to finally have a very, very good mold, or like a very good United 789 model in my collection. And I actually do have the Gemini version of this, but the Gemini version is basically like the old 787 mold. They use the old 787 mold, and honestly it doesn't really look as realistic as compared to like the real life aircraft. But here's where my story begins. So I did purchase the 787-9 from Gemini Jets in the United Evo Blue livery at the Museum of Flight back in June of 2022. I had that model for a couple of years, like more in particular, like I think 2 years at best. I featured that in many of my airport updates, and I think in some of my KRVL airport updates and a model review that I did about this model, I said, what if Aviation 400 did, like, if Aviation 400 or NG Most can do this model, then I would highly get it. This is where this really draws a line at this point. When I saw this aircraft, I just wanted to get it so bad, and I finally have it in my collection. I honestly don't have words, but once again, I'm very fortunate to finally have a well-accurate and very good United Airlines Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner mold. This is gonna be amazing. This is kind of like a huge step for my United Airlines collection. I finally have a very good 789 mold in my collection from United Airlines. So, super excited about this. So, and yeah, this is my second Aviation 400 model after I got the Philippines 777-300ER from them. So I got the Boeing logo right there, you got the Aviation 400 logo right there, 787-9 tiles right there, you got the CGI image of the aircraft, and then you also got the United logo, which honestly, I really do like this box design. It almost looks kind of like a more futuristic design, and it kind of like a modernized too. You got the aircraft registration, November 199986. You got the 1/4 scale tiles right there, die-cast aircraft model. And yeah, I think Aviation 400 does a nice job on many of these box designs too, but not as creative as NG. You got the bottom right there, you can see all the various like logos. You got the United Airlines logo right there, the CGI image of the plane, 1/4 scale, Boeing 787-9, November 199986, the registration, and the art number is AV400. You got the right logo, the right side of the box right there, which just says United Airlines, the United logo. The top's the same, and then you can see the Boeing 787-9 tiles right there on the left. At the back, it just has the United logo right there. You got the Made in China tiles right there, like Made in China. All your warning hazards right there, and then yeah, that's it for the box. So overall, whew, finally, I now have a very good 789 mold. Oh man, I'm not sure how often, now that I got this mold, I'm not sure how often I'm going to be using that Gemini mold. I mean, I still like the Gemini mold. I think it's okay, but I also wanted Gemini to also do like a 789 that features the JC Wings mold. But other than that, here is the stand right there. I might see if I want to try like place this in, or probably place it in off camera, but I might try to do that. You also got your various like landing gear configurations. So this one has the gear up configuration. I already placed the landing gears in. I ended up placing in like the gear down configuration, so that's the reason why there's nothing over there. So anyways, let me just place this aside. But this honestly looks really much better when I look at it on the camera. This looks so much better than the Gemini from 2021, and honestly, I'm just really impressed. So other than that, man, I don't really, oh my god, I don't really have words. Wow, this just looks amazing. It almost, honestly, it almost looked like the, wow, holy crap, this almost looks like an NG version, but with all the additional features like the 3D beacon light. Let me just pull it up closer. Wow, this makes the Gemini look like a joke. Holy crap, this looks amazing. I don't even have words. Wow, this looks phenomenal. Man, wow, just what I wanted. A very good United 789 mold. Man, I know I had that NG, like the Gemini version, for 2 years, but this is just a step on a whole new level. Wow. Yeah, I might feature this model more often in my airport updates if ever I see this aircraft on the flight board. But man, what a job well done from Aviation 400 right there. Great work. This is just, wow, absolutely beautiful. Just beautiful. And here's the absolutely stunning Aviation 400 1/400 scale United Airlines Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner in the Evo Blue livery. Honestly, this really draws a line on how I would use my Gemini, like United 789 in my Gabriel airport updates. So you might see this more often compared to the Gemini version because of how good it is. And honestly, they did a splendid job on this 1/400 model. And honestly, like I said, I'm really glad to finally have a well-accurate and very good-looking United 789 molded 1/400 scale, and I'm glad to get this Aviation 400 version right here. So, you got the cockpit windows right there, and then you got the nose shape of the aircraft. Honestly, looks so good. It almost looks similar to the NG version almost. You also got your outliner of the radome, which you can like visibly see. So that's really cool. You got your Style Alliance logo right there, and then you got the Connecting People United World Ties right there. You got torpedo tubes and stack port details right there. You also got the start of the delivery, of course, with the navy blue swoop that runs all the way to the end of the empennage, like the aft area of the plane. And then you also got your great underbelly right there. You got your nose land gear and your nose land gear door containing part of the aircraft ship number and the ETOPS logo right there. And yeah, I think Aviation 400 did a wonderful job on representing making the nose land gear of the Boeing 787. And yeah, I think this could be one of their first 789 models to feature the retractable landing gear configuration, so that's really cool. You also got your L2 boarding door right there, and then you got one of the characteristics of an Aviation 400 model, the red and 3D beacon light, which honestly, it looks really cool, and honestly, it really looks as realistic as like the actual real-life aircraft because of that, so really cool on how Aviation 400 has featured this on many of their models right there. You also got your top antenna right there, so your first top antenna, and then there's one of your Wi-Fi domes right there, so that's really cool. Here's your GE, and X engines right there. So honestly, I think they did a wonderful job on the GE and X engines right there. Almost looks really good, honestly. And then you also got the engine exhaust right there, and your Chevron 2 designs, one of the nice characteristics of the 787, and one of my favorites as well. And then you also got your engine pylon as well, and then you also got the main landing gear as well. Yeah, I think they also did a good job on that. What I do like about the wing details is like the landing light details, so you can see some landing light details right there. Moving on to some wing details. Speaking of, well, yeah, we're gonna move on to some wing details. So here's the wing details right there. You can see all the various window details, like the CSFF details right there. You got your slats, flaps, flight spoilers and ground spoilers, and then your flap track canoes right there. And then there's a rake wingtip, which I think they did a really good job on the rake wingtip design of the 787. Honestly looking at it, I love on how it's really represented right here on this model right here. So great work, Aviation 400 on that. And what I also do like is, as you can see on the underbelly, I have a feeling that is a molded in air intake, which honestly, if it is, then that's another plus point for Aviation 400. Anyways, moving on to this side right here, you also got your bottom antenna located right there. You got your LC door right there, and then another Wi-Fi dome, and then you got your two back antennas right there. Moving on to the back area, you got the L4 door right there, so here's the L4 door of the aircraft. You got your Dreamliner logo right there. You also got your bulk compartment. You also got the aircraft registration, November 199986, and the US flag right there, and then you can see the aircraft ship number right there. And then moving on to the empennage area of the plane, you got your APU, which I think Aviation 400 did a good job on the APU design of the 787. You also got your horizontal stabilizers, and then as I zoom out, you got the United Airlines Evo Blue tail, which honestly, it does look very nice on this Dreamliner, and I think the printing of the United logo looks very phenomenal on this model. So great work, Aviation 400, once again on this absolute phenomenal job. Like, it's an absolutely, I don't even have words, honestly. This is just Aviation 400 models are just a whole new level of 100 models, and honestly, this really exceeded my expectations right here. This looks so cool. Anyways, you got the front section of the aircraft right there. As you can see, I love the various details. I think Aviation 400 did a splendid job, like an outstanding job on the details of the engines. As you can see, you got the engine fan blades right there. But under that, in addition, there's also the spiral in the middle. So that is another great attention to detail for Aviation 400 right there. So great work, Aviation 400 on that. And then as I look at the cockpit windows, there's also various cockpit window details like windshield wipers and then your emergency exit hatch right there. And yeah, honestly, it just looks really good. It just looks phenomenal. Once again, this is just really exceeding my expectations. That Gemini version looked like a joke right now compared to this. Oh my god, this looks so good. But once again, don't get me wrong, the Gemini version is also good as well. Anyways, you got your starboard section right there. You got your R1, R2, R3, and R4 doors right there. You got your forward cargo bin and your aft cargo bin right there. Moving on to a top view of the plane. So here's the top view of the plane. Looking very nice, and honestly, really good details. I mean, there's some, honestly, just phenomenal details. Pretty much every single, aerial is 3D detailed alongside the beacon light right there. Moving on to the bottom section of the aircraft right there, you can really see how good, the details on the bottom are. As you can see, not sure what's this black thing doing here, but you can really see all, the various, details. And honestly, actually, they're kind of, molded in, but they're kind of, printed in. But there's some, bulging areas over here, but I still think it looks nice. But as you can see, you can really see the main landing gear door and the rat turbine door just visibly on the bottom. That's really cool right there. You can also see some engine details at the bottom as well, so that's really phenomenal. Anyways, you got your stand hole, and of course you got your bottom beacon light right there. Moving on to the front section of the aircraft. So here's the front section. Honestly, looking at this model, I'm really glad this has ground flex. I think the upper wing, like the starboard wing, kind of appears to be slanted upwards a little bit, but honestly, I can't really. I think let me look. Actually, I mean, it might be on my camera, but honestly, both wings are in the ground flex configurations, and honestly, I'm really glad to see that on this AV400 mold right there. And then here is the back side of the aircraft right there. I think you can see it more accurately right now. Like, you can see the wings more accurately. But other than that, I'm really glad to finally have an Evo Blue 789 on a very well job Aviation 400 mold. Wow, this just... it looks so good, honestly. But, yeah, this just... wow, I'm kind of like speechless right now. This looks really beautiful. Man, I don't know what's the future of my Gemini 789 mode that I got from the Museum of Flight, but I honestly really don't know. But I mean, like, I still want to get the NG version if NG were to release that, but maybe Gemini Jets can also release this, but with the JC Wings mode as well. So yeah. Oh, I also want to mention, so here's the stand, like the stand of the aircraft right there. And as I take this out and just place it in, come on, there we go. Take a look at that, man. That looks fantastic. Wow, that just really looks good on the stand right there. So once again, great work Aviation 400 on this model here. I'm really glad to finally have a very good 789 mold in my collection from United Airlines in 1/4 scale, and overall it really did exceed my expectations. Great work once again, and I'm really excited to feature this model in many of my airport updates. So that's it for all of our domestic airline. Well, not really, we got one more, but I do want to save that one for last. But we'll be moving on to some more international airlines, but in the wide body section. So with that being said, we're gonna move on to some international airlines in the wide body area. Alright, so I have a couple of international heavies that I'm gonna be unboxing in this video. So let's start off with the first one with an airline that I already have in my collection, but I actually do have. This is actually a new aircraft type for this particular airline, and given the fact I've seen these aircraft at SFO, I do want to get these, but usually they would come in during like the winter season, I suppose. But yeah, so they should be coming in like in SFO as of now from this particular area. But other than that, I'm excited to have this particular aircraft for this airline, so super excited to have this for well, yeah, I'm just really excited to have it. So why don't I show you guys right now? So that is the NG Models 1/400 scale Turkish Airlines Boeing 777-300ER. Super excited to have another Turkish model in my collection. I already have the 787-9 from Gemini Jets. Honestly, I do wish NG made a 789 from Turkish, but I never had like a Turkish from NG models, so this can mark my first time having so, or maybe my only time. Well, we'll see. But this particular model in particular, I've seen these 333s fly to SFO during the winter time, so they would fly from SFO to Istanbul, and I'm guessing they would usually like arrive at the like SFO like somewhere around like maybe, I think, yeah, somewhere around the afternoon, kind of like around that 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock range, I'm not sure, or like probably around 4 o'clock range. But other than that, really cool to have a 333 in my collection, and honestly, the livery looks nice on this aircraft. So I got the Boeing 777-300ER tiles right there, you got the CJ image of the aircraft, you got a very nice box design. Not sure what the blue is doing here, but there's another box design from a previous like 777 release from like Turkish and from NG. But I'm guessing this could be like the second iteration because they ended up doing 2 333s from Turkish Airlines on the same month, so it's kind of like a duplicate. However, I think the first one is sold out, but I was able to at least get the second one. So yeah, NG has been on these like duplicates as of recent. I know the November 2024 releases, that had a ton of duplicates, and honestly, duplicates are kind of like something that, kind of like the norms of NG right now, nowadays. But all I can really say is, one of the reasons why NG are duplicating these models is if ever one is sold out, then many other collectors can have a chance to get another one. So I ended up going for this second, I'm guessing the second like duplicate of this Turkish 333 after they released the first one. So yeah, Anyways, you got the aircraft name, which I'm guessing that's named Zagana, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. You got the engine models logo right there, 1 4 scale, collectible models, like as metal. You got the Turkish Airlines logo right there, and the aircraft registration, Tango Charlie, Juliet Sierra, and your Boeing licensed product right there. Moving on to the side, so here's the bottom side, here's the top, not top, this is the right side, this is the top, and then here's the left side. And then here's the back, which it's pretty much the same thing, nothing too special about the back. You got the warning hazards right there, their social media pages, the Boeing licensed product once again, and the item number of this model is 73033. So yeah, super excited to have a 333. So that kind of nearly completes my fleet of Turkish planes, excluding the A350, because the A350 would also fly to SFO too, probably during the summertime. Anyways, here's my CRP, so this is the August 2023 format, had a couple of these. But yeah, as I was saying about the Turkish A350, we'll see on who makes the A350, because I would technically need one for my Turkish Airlines collection, so I can like complete the Turkish Airlines fleet, like the wide-body fleet in general. But other than that, as I take her out of the cradle, she's like really firmed in there. I have a feeling like she's really firm in there, so I'm trying to like look for a certain, well, there we go. Well, I was trying to like look for somewhere to like actually get the aircraft out of there. But other than that, there she is. So here is the Turkish 333. Let me check for the wings. So the wings are good. Okay, wings are good. Horizontal stabilizers are also good too. And the tail, and there she is. So here it is, the Turkish Airlines Boeing 777-300ER. And honestly, NG Models did a wonderful job on this model, 1/4 scale. But other than that, I mean, like, I understand, like, NG did a duplicate of this model alongside with another Turkish triple, but I can't really complain. Like, some collectors might say, oh, why is NG releasing these duplicates? We don't want that. But if there's like a certain reason why they're doing these duplicates, then I can explain why. But I'm like, it's a European airline. They do tend to like duplicates of European airlines and some Asian airlines, but can't really complain. Either way, I got this model regardless. And here's the NG Models 1/400 scale Turkish Airlines Boeing 777-300ER. Once again, another nice international aircraft from my Turkish Airlines collection. Once again, this is my second Turkish Airlines aircraft overall after getting the 789 from Gemini. But other than that, I still think they did a good job on this 777, and I'm really glad to have this 777 on this particular airline in the first place. So, you got the cockpit windows right there, and then you got the nose shape of the aircraft. Once again, NG Models does a fantastic job on the nose shape representation of the 777. Not sure what kind of like, is that like a dust spot somewhere over there? Kind of looks like it. There's some kind of like dust. I'm gonna trying to remove it. It's kind of slightly coming out, but not really exactly. Okay, it kind of is coming out. Just need to like rub it a little bit more. Okay, I think that should be out. Anyways, you got some pitot tube details and sideboard details over there. You got the Star Alliance logo and the aircraft name once again right there. And here's the L1 boarding door and your L2 boarding door alongside your windows. You got the Turkish Airlines tiles right there in like a bluish color. And then you got the gray Wi-Fi dome and your forward antenna right there. And then you got your gray underbelly and the nose landing gear and the nose landing gear door containing part of the Juliet Sierra registration right there. Moving on to the middle section of the plane, you got your Turkish flag right there, or Turkiye. I think that's how people, like, I think in Turkey would call it. I think that's a new name. Some say it might be the new name of Turkey. They, instead of calling it Turkey, they call it Turkiye. But I'll just simply call it as Turkey. And then you got the L3 door right there, otherwise known as the emergency exit door. And then there's your beautiful GE90 engine right there, which I think NG Models did a good job on the GE90 engine right there. And it almost looks as accurate in size. I think it does look very nice. And yeah, I think NG Models did a good job on that, alongside with the various details right there. And yeah. And then there's your main landing gear right there, which I think NG Models also did a good job on the representation of the 777's main landing gear. Moving on to the wing section of the aircraft, so here are your wing details right there. You can see all the emergency exit indicators right there, all the printed details. You also got your pylon details, well, not really as detailed, but there's still some good pylon representation on this aircraft. You also got some flat details, flap details, flight spoilers, ground spoilers, and your flap track canoes right there, alongside some ailerons, and then there's the wingtip of the wing right there, which I think NG Models did a good job on it. Anyways, moving on to the back area of the aircraft. So here's the back area of the plane. You got your L4 door, like L4 door right there, and then you got this kind of like I'm not sure what kind of symbol this is. Not sure if this has to do with Turkish culture or like what kind of like representation this is. But yeah, let me know in the comments or the chat below I'm just curious, because like I do like Turkish Airlines' livery, but there's some areas on the aircraft that I kind of don't really know what it is. Honestly though, I think it's my camera. I think it has to do with my camera, but it does appear dark, but maybe it won't be as dark if ever I put this aircraft on sunlight. Anyways, moving on to the back area, so like very back area in this case, you got your second Wi-Fi dome right there, alongside with your rear antennas right there, and your bottom antenna as well. You got your L5 door, and then Boeing 777-300ER tiles right there. And then you got the aircraft registration, Tango Charlie, Juliet Sierra right there. And then moving on to the empennage area of the plane, you got your APU, and the horizontal stabilizers, which once again, I think they got some nice detailing in. Like they got some nice details on the horizontal stabilizers. And the Turkish Airlines logo on the tail, which I think NG Models did a wonderful job on the printing. Anyways, let's move on to the front section. But yeah, still a good model from NG. And yeah, one of like the oddballs for my international fleet, since I've seen these 777s before from Turkish. Yeah, at SFO, I've seen these Turkish 333s. You got some details of the GE90 engines, which honestly I think they did a good job on. And then you got some forward area details, like you got some cockpit details right there, which I think NG Models also did a good job on. And then moving on to the starboard section, let me zoom out real quick. You got the starboard section, so you got your R doors right there, R1, R2, R3, R4, and R5. And then you got the aircraft's forward cargo bin right there, and the aft cargo bin right there, and then there's the bulk compartment. Moving on to a top view of the plane. So here's the top view of the aircraft right there. Kind of the same deal, all your various like details from the top. Moving on to the bottom section, you can see the Turkish Airlines logo right there, and all your various like details at the bottom, like the rat turbine, and then the main landing gear doors. You can also see the Tango Charlie, Juliet Sierra titles, or like the registration on the port wing right there, bottom of the port wing. And then you can also see the Tango Charlie, Juliet Sierra on the starboard wing. Moving on to the front section of the plane. Here's the front section of the aircraft. No need to explain more about the 777 NG's mold. And then here's the back section of the plane right there. So overall, cool model in my collection, and yeah, I think they did a good job on this 333 right there. And yeah, I always wanted like a Turkish 333 in my collection, and hopefully I can use this on the future airport update. Like if ever I do it like an international airport, like a fictional international airport, then maybe I can like, I mean Roseville is a international airport in this case, but I don't have an international terminal yet. But yeah, other than that, still a good model, and I'm really glad to have a Turkish 333 in my collection. So great work NG Models on that. So yeah, that's it for the Turkish 333. We got one last international airline to take a look at, so without being said, let's have a look at that model itself. So yeah, we're gonna have to look at that model, because I think I also got a story about that model too. So without being said, let's move on to that model. The final international airline we'll be taking a look at is a rather interesting one, and I think I have a similar story to this. So I got this model, and I think I traded one of my models to another collector. So super excited to have this model. Well, kind of excited, but it's quite an interesting turn of events on how I ended up getting this model in favor of like a previous release. So let me show it to you guys. So that is the NG Models 1/4 scale Air Tahiti Nui Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner. Now, this is a similar story to the Delta AC-19 that I unboxed earlier in this video. So similar to this, I ended up getting a different release of this particular airline and the aircraft from the same brand. So I actually had the third release. I'm guessing it was the third release, Air Tahiti Nui 787-9. I think that was released in April 2023 if I were to guess. So not really 2023, but this model in particular, the fourth release, this is actually the fourth and final release from NG. And I think this came out on the April 2023 releases if I were to take a guess. Or maybe like, not really, I'm not really quite sure, but I think it's, ooh, that's really hard to like to think about. But I think, honestly, I think it's either between the second or third, but I think I'm doubting it could be the third release that actually no, it was actually the second release. Yeah, second release Air Tahiti Nui 789 that I ended up getting. I saw this, I think this came out somewhere around 2024 or late 2023, but I ended up getting this model, and I'll go over why I ended up getting this model in the first place. So let's get started with the box review. So you got the Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner tiles right there. You got the CGI image of the plane. You got a very nice box art representing the Air Tahiti Nui colors, which I think NG Models did a good job on. You can see all like the various like arrows over there, and then some flowers, like painted flowers like this. So that's really cool. NG Models logo, 1/4 scale, collectibles model, die-cast metal. You got the Air Tahiti Nui logo right there, Boeing license product right there. And this is the reason why I ended up getting this aircraft right here. So this aircraft is registered Foxtrot Oscar November Uniform India. And if you guessed it, I did see this exact aircraft in real life. So I saw this aircraft at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport back in December 2023 while I was there. And this was my flight going back to like Sacramento. So I got a very nice shot of her, and she landed on the runway. Like, she landed from, I think it was Paris Charles de Gaulle, but I was able to catch her from inside the terminal. So here's that photo you're seeing on your screen right now, and overall, really nice to see Air Tahiti Nui at KSEA. They've been flying here ever since like 2022, like late 2022. And yeah, it's nice to see that Air Tahiti Nui is expanding routes across the US. So they got LAX and Seattle-Tacoma, so really cool. And yeah, this is the reason why. So I saw this aircraft, I had the second release, I actually gave it to a friend of mine, which is Aviation LAS. He'd been wanting an Air Tahiti Nui 787 Dreamliner for his collection for quite a long time. I think he might be using it for LAX. Well, Canada, his LAX airport updates is currently on hold right now. But I saw this model in the, I think it was Bruce Butter's model that I saw, is when I saw this model. So I saw that, I decided to get it, and yeah, I now have this model in my collection, the fourth release and final release of an Air Tahiti Nui 789 from NG. So really nice to have it. You got the bottom side, $58, which honestly not too bad, but kind of close to that $60 range. But yeah, it's a new release either way. You got the right side, top, and I'm guessing that's the left. Yeah, left. And then here's the back side, kind of like the same deal. Nothing much on the left side. You got the NG logo right there. You got the CGI image of the plane, warning hazards, social media pages, and the Boeing license product. And the item number of this model is 55103. Alright, so let's unbox this. So yeah, kind of like the same deal. I mean, like, I'm not gonna go into like a full-on review. Maybe I might, because it's been a while since I last reviewed the Air Tahiti Nui 789. Anyways, here is the CRP right there, March 2024. But other than that, it's really cool to finally have a Air Tahiti Nui 789 in my collection of the exact aircraft I saw in real life. So, kind of like my deal at this point. Anyways, there she is right there. So overall, I think it looks very nice. And yeah, almost feels like the previous two releases. They're really good. And honestly, NG Mouse did a wonderful job on it. So overall, look at that beauty right there. And honestly, it's almost looks similar to like the second release that I have. It almost looks the same, and honestly, can't really complain. I mean, like, it looks similar, but other than that, I'm just really glad to have this for my collection. So, welcome back, Air Tahiti Nui 789 in my collection. Welcome back, yeah, let me rephrase that. Welcome back to my collection, Air Tahiti Nui 789. That's much better. But other than that, great work, engine models, on this particular airplane right here. And here's the engine models 1/400 scale Air Tahiti Nui Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner, fourth and final release in their standard livery. Similar to the previous model I have, which is the second release if I were to take a guess, I think they did a phenomenal job on this model, and honestly, the color really looks saturated on this model right here, so great work, NG Models, on that. So, not gonna go into too much review since maybe I can. I mean, it's been a while since I last reviewed an Air Tahiti Nui model in my collection, but for the sake of it, I'll just do a quick little review. So, you got the copy windows right there, and yeah, of course, the nose shape of the plane looks nice. And yeah, you got the aircraft name right there, and I think that's the Tahitian flag. And then you got the aircraft name, which is Tupaia, if I'm pronouncing that name correctly. I mean, it's a really hard name to pronounce. You got your nose landing gear, and the nose landing gear door containing part of the November Uniform India registration prefix. You got the L1 and L2 boarding door right there. Moving on to this side, you got the Air Tahiti Nui tiles right there. And yeah, honestly, the livery itself, like, it's not like the AT40, but I think there's more character in this livery rather than just the AT40 in this livery. But like, I think that was their previous livery. They introduced their new livery when they introduced the 787 Dreamliners. Got all your various like aerial details, like the Wi-Fi dome and the antennas right there. Some details over there, and then you got the GENX engines, which I think Engine Models did a good job on the printing on, or like the engine itself. Not sure what's going on here. Like, is there some kind of like residue over here? Let me try taking this off. Kind of feels like residue. And let me try like going up a little closer. I know the aircraft's not in the frame right now, but yeah, I'm thinking that's some kind of like residue that I'm gonna have to fix. I don't want to like just like damage the engine or anything, but there's some kind of like residue over there. Yeah, it's there, but other than that, I mean, like, not sure how I'm gonna take it out. I mean, like, it's slightly out, but yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that. Anyways, you got some wing details. No need to explain more on like the wing details of the 787, but honestly, I think NG did a nice job on it. And then moving on to this side, I do want to mention like all the various livery characteristics. So you got the blue over there, and then you got the red lines. There are 2 red lines, and I think they converge into 1 red line, and it ends all the way over there. Another thing I like about this livery is this like really cool detail. I'm not sure what kind of like symbol this is, but there's some like really cool like character in this livery. Like there's some all the various like additional details to this livery rather than just the previous one. So that's really cool to see this on the Dreamliner. And then you got the L3 door right there, and then L4 door. You got the Dreamliner tiles right there, and then you got the bulk compartment. You got the Tahitian flag right there, and the aircraft registration, Foxtrot Oscar November Uniform India. And then moving on to the empennage, you got the APU and the horizontal stabilizers, and the Air Tahiti Nui tail, which honestly I think AG Mouse did a wonderful job on the printing of the tail right there, alongside their previous 4 releases. And yeah, in addition to that, there's also the 25th anniversary sticker they did as well. So yeah, that's also included too. Anyways, the front section also looks nice. You got some fan blade details right there, and the cockpit window printing as well. Which honestly, I think AG Mouse did a good job. I know it's kind of like blurry, but yeah, I think they did a good job on it. And then moving on to the starboard section of the aircraft, you got your starboard details, all your various R doors right there. You got the forward cargo bin right there, and the aft cargo bin, which is right there. Moving on to the top view of the plane. So here's the top view. No need to go over too much. I mean, you can barely see it, but I mean, it's there, but yeah. There's some good top details right there. The bottom details are also looking nice as well. So yeah, here's the bottom details right there. You got your rat turbine dome and all your various air intakes right there, which I do like to see. There's a Foxtrot Oscar November Uniform India registration at the port side at the bottom of the wing. And then, yeah, there's no registration on the top too. Anyways, here's the front section of the plane. And then here is the back section of the aircraft right there. So overall, great work AG Mouse on this Air Tahiti Nui 789. I mean, I already have it in my collection. Like, I have one in my collection. I already sold that to Aviation LAS or Ed. So he has now, like, he has my second iteration or second release, Air Tahiti 789. So yeah, but other than that, really glad to have this. And yeah, really nice to see Foxtrot Oscar November Uniform India at KSEA back in 2023, and honestly, really got a good catch. And yeah, really want to get this model because I seen this particular plane. So overall, that is the NG Models Air Tahiti Nui 789 for you all. And yeah, what another fantastic model from NG. We're down to our final model. I know it's been what a run this is, ladies and gentlemen, but we got one final model to take a look at, and I really do want to save the best for last for this one. So super excited to get into this final model with you all. So with that being said, let's move on to the last model for this massive unboxing. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of Massive Unboxing 13, and we're still gonna end this with a high note. So this final model, oh man, we just made so many references on this model in particular that I just want to get it because of this. So man, this is gonna be quite an interesting model, honestly. And yeah, I'm just super excited to have this aircraft in my collection, and overall I might use this at some point in the future, but I'm just super excited to finally have this model. And for those who know the reference, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the talent show herself, the Gemini Jets 1/400 scale UPS Boeing 747-400F. Super excited to have another UPS model in my collection, as quite funny enough, because last year at Airliners 2023, I got a UPS MD-11. This year in Kansas City, I decided to get a UPS 747-400. So, is this some kind of like trend that's coming out? I just get every single like UPS plane, like I get like a UPS plane every single Airliners? Who knows? But speaking of Airliners 2023, if you guys don't know this reference, so this was back during Airliners 2023 in DFW. So it was day one. I was plane spotting with a couple of guys on Connor McCauley's room, or Red River Aviation's room. We got some nice views of all these American planes that are taking off and all the other various like planes that fly to DFW. I think we were on the, I think it was the, like, I'm guessing, because like Hyde Regency was somewhere over there. I think it was like the, I think it was facing somewhere like 17, like on the 17 runways, like 17 left, 17 center, and 17 right. Yeah, we got some very amazing views from the top floor of the Hyatt Regency Hotel. So yeah, this was after day one of the collectibles show. So we were spotting there, and yeah, we got a lot of good catches. But we came across this UPS M47-400. We thought, oh, is she going to come to our side or is she going to depart on the other side? So we were kind of like speculating it, like, oh, what if she departs on like the front side, like on our side, and we'll get like a good view of it. Thankfully, she was able to make it into the front side, like on our side when she was taxiing, and it was at this moment when we were about to witness the UPS M47's takeoff, and man, it all explains. So we got a beautiful departure shot of the UPS M47. She took off right in front of us, and Connor McCauley called it a talent show, and that's what we've been referring to. The UPS M47-400 is basically a talent show. That's honestly one of the most iconic references we ever did in Airliners history, and it all began during my first Airliners convention in Dallas. Man, that's the reason why I want to get this model right here, to really recognize that the talent show herself, the UPS M47, that moment in Airlines 2023 is that moment from Airlines 2023 has gone down into history. That is just, man, like every time like we would think of it, we call it a talent show every single time, no matter which aircraft. But more in particular, I would say this UPS M47-400 is what it all started with, the talent show herself. And I'm just really glad to have this in my collection. I think this came out somewhere in October, like it's either October or November 2023 is when this model was released. So, really excited to have it, so let's get reviewing. So I got the Gemini Jets logo right there, made for collectors by collectors. You got the CGI image of the aircraft. I spent $30 on this model, so $30 on a wide body is it's a great deal right there. That's really cool. That's a talent show and a half, or double times the talent show. I got this from Squatchy's diecast hangar on the first day of the collectible show, and honestly, Squatchy's got a nice plethora of models in their vendor tables, and some cheaper models too, so really glad to purchase some models from them. I think I purchased a handful of them, including that honoring Dogs of Sarah Alaska 738. And yeah, unlike generic Gemini Jets boxes, UPS's box designs have a very unique design. So as you can see, the background is just like a sky blue almost, and then you got like a black, I'm guessing that's like a black border right there alongside with a white border, like a white strand right there, like a white stripe right there. You got the Boeing 747-400F tiles right there, the UPS logo, 1/4 scale die-cast model aircraft. And then as I flip to the side, so here is the bottom side, here's the right side, here's the top, and here's the left side. And as I pull up the back, here's the back side. You got all the various same things, like same thing as per usual on the back side. You got the CGI image of the plane, as well as it gets features. You got the UPS licensed product right there, alongside the Boeing licensed product, and then you can see all the bullet points of the as well as it gets. You got the their social media pages right there, and the 2023 Gemini Jets copyright label right there. And the item number of this model is GJUPS 2193AL. That's one long license, like an item number right there. So once again, let me reread it again. So GJUPS 2193AL is the license, or like the item number of this particular UPS M47. So never seen an item number like that. I'm not sure if that's also like that on my MD-11 that I got, but anyway, really cool. Anyways, here we go. Get ready, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna see the talent show herself. So as I open up the pamphlet, there she is. Man, she looks absolutely pretty in 1/4 scale. Man, the memories we had during that moment, that's absolutely awesome. Anyways, so here's the description of the 747-400, or like the 400 freighter. So as you can see all the descriptions, and you can see the description about this particular aircraft in general, so you can pause and read. And then you can also visit never seen this, you can see visit our website of new releases, www.geminijets.com. So really cool on how Gemini Jets was able to add that. Here we go, final model for Airliners, but final model for Mass Unboxing 13 from Airliners 2024, and yeah, we're so ending this off with a high note right here. So yeah, really cool model right here, and yeah, I think this model particularly has a stand, so I was able to include a stand there, so that's really nice. So let me just put this together. So it's a pretty easy fit, So here it is. There's the stand itself. Has some there's some kind of extra sayings that I do want to wipe off, but I'm just here for the model itself. Man, come out! Oh my, yes! wow, look at this beauty right there. It's a one-piece mold, which I can't complain. I mean, it's like sometimes Gemini Jets would release some one-piece 747 400s, but this is just an absolutely beautiful model. Let me just set it up close. Ladies and gentlemen, the talent show herself, this UPS 747 400. The memories we had from Airliners 2023, they were amazing. And I do like the fact that, okay, I think one of the landing gears does pivot, like on the bodies that's mounted on the fuselage, one of them pivots, which can't complain, as if this aircraft, I'm not going to be using this aircraft to take off or anything, maybe if I can, but other than that, wow, what a model right there, ladies and gentlemen. Really want to end this off with a high note with this UPS 747. That is just a job well done from Gemini Jets right there, and I'm really impressed on them. So great work, Gemini Jets, on this model, and what a nice way to finish off Mass Unboxing 13. This is just a stellar right there. Wow. Just wow. Man. Don't even have words, but great work, Gemini Jets. And here's the Gemini Jets 1/400 scale UPS Boeing 747-400 freighter. What an amazing model to finish off Mass Unboxing 13 right here. The talent show herself. So many references from Airliners 2023, and honestly, I'm really glad to finally have this beauty in my collection. So I have the MD-11 and this 747-400. Man, this is gonna be an awesome model to represent in my collection. So, let's get started with the review. You got the copy windows right there, and then you got the nose shape, the iconic nose shape of the 747, which of course you can see like this door right there. This is the nose of the plane, which opens up when they load up cargo. You also got the emergency exit escape hatch right there. You got your nose land gear and nose land gear door containing part of the 581 registration prefix, and I'm guessing that's the ETOPS logo. You also got some pitot tube details right there, and some side ports as well. Well, technically they're also right here. You also got your L door right there, so this is your L1 door right there, which is where the crew would go in. And then you got the 3 windows right there, which the crew would sit. Moving on to this side, let me just pull it over here. You got the worldwide service tiles right there. And I've seen some collectors have like an antenna on this one. This is the 2022 release, by the way. Mine does not have any, which I can't complain. I mean, like, I don't think it was there to begin with. I mean, it shows on the CGI it was there, but yeah, almost reminds me of those NG Lite models. Kind of like something like that, but yeah, still, I can't complain either way. I have this. You got some wing details right there. This is a seam mold, which you can see right there. You can see all like the edges right there. So this is a one-piece mold, which I had a couple of these, so yeah, nothing to complain. You also got the landing light details right there, which I do like to see from Gemini. Moving on to the middle area of the plane, you got your GE CF6 engines, so you got 2 on this side, and then you got the other 2 on the starboard wing right there. One of the iconic characteristics of the 747. And then there's the main landing gear, so you got 2 main landing gears on the wings and 2 main landing gears on the fuselage. And let's look at that iconic hump. So there's that iconic hump, which I think Gemini Jets did a great job on representing the hump on this 1/400 model right here. Moving on to some wing details, so let me just position it like this. So here are your wing details. Honestly, I think the wing details are really excellent on this model. You could visibly see the ground spoilers and flight spoilers, all the flaps and slats, and then you got your aileron details right there and your flap jack canoes right there. That's just absolutely amazing. And then there's the winglet right there. Man, that's the 747 is just an iconic airplane. Honestly, I really love this aircraft. One of the reasons why I got into aviation in the first place. Anyways, moving on this side, you got the cargo hold right there. So this is the cargo door that's placed on the forward side, so you can load some cargo over there. So really cool to see. And honestly, NG mold, not NG, I mean, they have their 747-400 mold, but Gemini Jets did an excellent job on the printing details of this 747-400 freighter. And yeah, this is where the livery starts. So it starts all the way from here. It has a very long line of gold and brown, and then you got pretty much the rest of it is the backside is brown. So yeah, that's one of the characteristics of the UPS livery. And then you got the aircraft registration right there, November 581 Uniform Papa. We saw November 577 Uniform Papa at DFW when the talent show moment happened, so yeah. Honestly, they wish they did that though, so yeah. Anyways, you got your L2 door right there. I'm not sure if this is actually the L2 door. Like, that's gonna be used as L2 door, but yeah, that's there. Maybe, I guess. And then you got some extra details right there. And then you got the F-anizer of the plane. You got the APU right there, like the APU of the 747, which NG models, not NG, why am I thinking NG? I mean, I understand they have their 747-400 mold, but Gemini jet. So there's the APU right there. And then you also got the horizontal stabilizer details as well. And as I zoom out of my camera, we have the UPS logo on the brown tail, which honestly, I think Gemini Jets did a wonderful job on the printing details, like the printing of the UPS logo on the tail of the 747 right here. Moving on to the front section of the aircraft, so as you can see, here's the beautiful front section. You got, look at that 747 just like staring. You also got some like good details right there. You can see some windshield wiper details as well, and then you can slightly see some details on the CF6 engines. Yeah, you can see a little bit, but yeah, I think they also did a good job. And then there's also the UPS logo at the bottom of the nose right there. And then moving on to the starboard section of the aircraft, no doors on the starboard section right here, but you got your forward cargo bin right there, and your aft cargo bin right there. Moving on to a top view, so let me just position the Queen like this. So here's the top view of the plane. So yeah, all the various like top details, nothing to pretty much go over too much. Moving on to the bottom section of the plane. This is where your stand hole will be. Oh, hang on. This is where your stand hole will be, and yeah, you can see like the visible lines on this mold. So yeah, once again, this is a one-piece mold, which I have a couple of these in my collection. You also got the Gemini Jets logo right there. Moving on to the front area of the plane. Let me just position it. So here's the front view of the plane. So honestly, looking very nice, to be honest. And then moving on to the back section. Here is the back side of the plane right here. So what a model this is. What a talent show. This is just a beautiful model from Gemini Jets, and yeah, really nice to have another UPS model in my collection. Hopefully I could try to get, well, we'll see if there's like a A300 UPS, like a UPS A300 that's coming soon. Okay, I don't know what's going on with this main landing gear, but it kind of feels, as you can see, it kind of feels a little bit like wiggly, while this one is just firm. I mean, like, it's like that. I mean, like, this thing moves, but yeah, it's kind of like moving a little like awkwardly. But other than that, still a good model, and honestly, it's just a really cool model. And yeah, what a reference that was from AI 2023, and honestly, looking forward to hopefully feature this model in many of my future updates if I ever undo the challenge show moment again. But other than that, it's a very nice model in my collection, and honestly, really nice to add another 747 freighter in my collection after getting that. I think the last 747 freighter, oh yeah, those Atlas Airs, like the Atlas Air Final 747 is the last freighter aircraft I got. But other than that, well, prior to me unboxing this. But other than that, great work, Gemini Jets, and that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's mass unboxing number 13 for you all. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna assemble, or like put all my models off camera, and we're gonna conclude this video from here. So overall, super excited to line up all my models for this conclusion portion of this video. And yeah, a lot of models from Airliners 2024. So without being said, everybody, I'm gonna transition into the next clip, and you're gonna see all the models I got from Airliners 2024. So without being said, let's get into the conclusion of this massive unboxing. And here's all the models that are featured in Mass Unboxing 13, the Airliners International 2024 haul. Man, what a lineup of models right here. So, I did the calculations, and the total comes to 21 models. So, kind of like shy below my Airliners 2023 Mass Unboxing, which was Mass Unboxing 10. I think that had like about, guessing around like 25-ish models almost. This is closing in on that, but at least it wasn't as big as like, at least there were more models that I purchased from the Kansas City in general. Well, excluding all like the other ones you saw from the whole video of Airliners 2024. But still, this is an impressive lineup, and overall, I'm really glad to have all these models for my collection, and hopefully I can use them for my future airport updates, especially for those Delta planes. So, without being said, I'm gonna have to go over these one by one for you guys. So let's get started with our GSC equipment. So here are our GSCs, all from like Jet Set models and Fantasy Wings. So you can see all my United and generic GSCs from Jet Set models. But I also got some Fantasy Wings as well. So you can see the Fantasy Wings ULD loaders and the tugs right there alongside the ULD like trains right there. And then I also got some buses too. So those are all your GSCs. We're gonna get started with our Embraer E175s right here. So I got the Washington Cougars Embraer E175 right there. And alongside with that, I have the Go Dogs Alaska Embraer E175 as well. So perfect pair right there. Next up, I have my third and final Delta Connection Embraer E175. So really nice to have a third one. And yeah, I think that's enough for Delta E175s for now, unless they make a regular winglet one. But other than that, still glad to have a Delta E175 in my collection by SkyWest. So yeah, I have 3 of these in my collection now. Moving on to our 737s, we first start off with the Alaska 737-800 in the Honoring Those Who Served livery. Really nice model right here, a nice model in lines with my, well, a nice model for my collection, and it will go well with my 737-900DR. Yeah, that's what I meant to say, but under that, really glad to have it. We also have my United Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 9 in the Evil Blue livery. Really nice to have this model in my collection, and overall, I think Gemini Jets did a great job on it. Alongside with that, we have my first airline from Mexico, which is Aeromexico, with this 737-800 example. A pivotal airline for my collection, and I'm overall really glad to have it. We'll be moving on to the other side, where we got our 757s right here. So here we have my Delta 757-200 from Gemini Jets Gen 2 without winglets. A nice asset for my Delta Airlines collection, and hopefully I can use that if I were to do some VIP charters. And I also have the NG 757-300 for United Airlines in the Evil Blue livery. Another nice asset from my United Airlines collection, and overall, a nice comparison for my Gemini version that I have 2 years ago. Here are all the Mad Dogs right here, well, Mad Dog and Mad Pup in this case. We have the Everett Air Cargo McDonnell Douglas MD-88 SF, a nice model to really represent me first time catching this aircraft and my first Mad Dog catch as well. And then we have the Delta 717, of course I've seen these in ATL, but on that, really cool to see some Delta 717s for the first time while I was at Atlanta for my layover. Here we got a couple of Airbus narrowbodies right there, so we got some, like, 1 baby bus and 2 A320s. So we'll start off with the Delta A3, hang on, let me just do want to adjust my tripod just a little bit. I'm not sure why it keeps falling off like that, but let me just fix this, so do apologize. Okay, I think this should be a lot better. So we first start with our baby bus with this Delta Airbus A319. Second release from NG models. Really nice to have this, and yeah, this was the exact aircraft I saw at San Jose. Next up, we got 2 JetBlues, so you can see a JetBlue A320 high-rise tail with some fence wingtips, so you can see that aircraft right there. Really nice asset from Altitude models, and yeah, really nice to get this model for my JetBlue collection. Alongside with that, I also have the Spotlight pattern A320 from NG models. This one features sharklets, and yeah, it'll also go well for the Spotlight tail one from the Altitude models version with the Spotlight tail. Got a Spirit A320 right there, so one of my Spirit A320s, like, yeah, not sure what's going on with Spirit's situation as of late, but hopefully they can, yeah, I'm not gonna go into too much on Spirit's situation, but all I can say, it's quite unfortunate that on Spirit's current situation, like financial situation, but other than that, I hope they can get out of there so they can become a new airline. And then we have my first airline from South America with this Avianca A320 example right here. Really nice to finally have Avianca in my collection, and overall, I think this should be a very nice looking airline if I were to do like a South American airport, or like get my international terminal for KRBL done. So that was your Airbuses right there. We only got a couple of more models, and then we're gonna conclude this part right here. You can see the JSX Embraer ERJ145. I was almost gonna say E175, but yeah, I've seen a lot of those. But we got the JSX ERJ145 right there, looking very nice. And yeah, really nice to have another ERJ145 in my collection. I also do want to mention my Airliners International 2024 Kansas City pin as well. Yeah, that's there, but do want to put that in because this is all the models I got from Airliners International. Next up, finally great to finally have this. Very fortunate enough to finally have this in my collection, in particular for my United Airlines collection. But we have the United 787-9 Dreamliner in the Evil Blue livery by AV400. Once again, I'm really glad to finally have a very good 787-9 model for United Airlines. And overall, this is just a great asset for my collection right there. Next up, we have the Delta Airlines Airbus A330-900 Neo standard livery. Also nice to have this from NG models. And yeah, might be featuring more of the smaller rather than the Team USA. Don't get me wrong, I'll still feature the Team USA one, but yeah, really nice to have a standard livery Delta A330 Neo right there. Next up, we have the Turkish Airlines Boeing 777-300ER. Also nice to get this in my collection. And yeah, now I have two Turkish planes in my collection. The 789 from Gemini and this one from NG Models, the 777-300ER. But other than that, still a pivotal asset for my international collection, or international fleet in general. Same song, second verse, but at Delta 1819. Here we have the fourth release Air Tahiti Nui 787-9 that I was able to replace for my second iteration, like the second version. But other than that, really cool to have this model, and yeah, really nice to have the aircraft of the exact, like have the model of the exact aircraft I've seen in real life. And to top it all off, sitting in the stand, we have the talent show herself, the UPS 747-400. No need to explain more why I got this. But man, this is such a really cool asset for my cargo fleet, and overall, hopefully I can use this model for future cargo operations. So yeah, for Roseville International, if that were the case. So yeah, that is it for Mass Unboxing number 13. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Real long video, just like the previous Mass Unboxing where I unboxed models from Mass Unboxing 10 during AI 2023, but we got a lot there. I mean, like, once again, not as many models as compared to like Mass Unboxing 10, but still, I think I got a handful of models. And yeah, these are just really cool assets from my collection. And yeah, what a convention Kansas City was. I think Airliners International 2024 in Kansas City, another successful show, and yeah, the amount of attendees there exceeded my expectations. I was able to see a couple of friends from Sacramento, and yeah, overall, this is just really awesome to see this many models after one amazing convention. Don't forget, everybody, Airliners International 2025 will be held in Atlanta, Georgia at the Delta Flight Museum from, wait, I forgot. Oh yeah, June 25th to the 28th. Yeah, I kind of was like, oh, when were these gonna be held? But yeah, more details will come for me if ever I go to Airlines 2025, but who knows, we'll see, we'll find out. But I'll let you guys know in a month in advance, prior to, like, months before Airlines 2025, but you expect me to make an announcement 1 month in advance. So other than that, what a nice haul for all these mass unboxing, what a nice mass unboxing for all these models right here for Airlines 2024, and I'm looking forward to hopefully attend Airlines International 2025 in Atlanta, hopefully soon, but once again, I'll let you guys know in advance. So yeah, so overall, that's it for Mass Unboxing 13. Stay tuned for Mass Unboxing 14 and don't forget, yeah, Mass Unboxing 14 is gonna be coming up, and it's gonna be less than this. I mean, like, Mass Unboxing 13 was huge, but this time for Mass Unboxing 14, I'm just gonna like lower the scale of how many models I got. So yeah, that's it for Mass Unboxing 13, and what a lineup of models from Airlines 2024. This is just amazing assets right here, ladies and gentlemen. So that's it for today's video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and turn on that post notification bell so you won't miss a video like this anytime soon. And if you want to see more of my mass unboxings and model plane content, then you can click on either of those playlists, and you can check out all my unboxings, reviews on my model plane playlist, and then you can check out all my mass unboxings on my mass unboxing playlist as well. So that's it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Anyways, good night.